Okay, can I get into this now or what?
Go for it.
Okay, wait. Gentlemen,
Yes.
I don't want to dilly or dally because one of us is coming in hot
Are we?
tonight. But I just want to say, the time of recording this, it is 4 or 5 days away from my birthday. Thanks to Varsha, your boy's all iced out.
Let's
Oh.
go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Showing it off. Showing it off.
Let me see. Bring it closer to me. Oh, that's a nice watch.
Hold on.
Let's go.
Check it out.
I don't like your hand. Your hand looks when you do that. I feel like you could just go like that.
Yeah,
like a
that would've been a lot
velociraptor.
easier, but I went the wrong way.
You should have. Yeah, you should have.
Anyways,
Yeah.
before I let one of us off the bench here, just for some context, many moons ago, on episode 25, 100 views, by the way, just fucking saying, we received a phone call in the middle of the show
Yeah.
from two ladies, one of whom Patrick had a brief run-in with
And here they are.
on Tinder. If you remember that topic and moment on the show, good for you. If not, that's really all the context you need. It was a little weird. Patrick, take it away.
Okay, well, I was gonna start off by saying I don't know if I want to like identify these people. So
too late.
Well, it's too late. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Their names aren't.
So, listen, I have nothing against these people whatsoever, but there's been a weird trend that's happened over the past few months where they'd call me every once in a while with a blocked number. Every time it's a blocked number, I know it's them. I answer. They always call me somehow while I'm eating, and I pick up. And they're like, "Hey, it's us, whatever, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, "Hi, what's going on? Why are you calling? Blah, 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 blah." A weird exchange happens. That's it. Last night, as you may recall, wait, what was last night? We played comp for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I only played one match, but I don't know what you guys did. I think how many did you guys play after me?
Like 3 or 4.
You lose all of them?
We only lost one.
I'm having a hard time remembering the events preceding, but it's not even relevant. Last night, I get into bed at around 12 o'clock. I'm trying to fall asleep. So I have my phone on my bed next to me, right? And suddenly, I hear like a triple beep, like a triple vibration. And I quickly realize that this is signifying a group FaceTime audio call. And sure enough, it's these girls calling with 4 or 5 other numbers that I don't have saved. So I end the call because I'm trying to go to bed. I don't know why they're calling at midnight. So I end the call and I turn back over and I'm trying to fall asleep. And I was telling Matty they did this like maybe like 5 or 6 times. I was telling him earlier today. But I checked my call logs and I didn't even realize they kept calling and trying to ring me in from 12:20. The last time was 1 a.m. They were keeping me up for 40 minutes. I was literally ending. I don't know why I didn't just like didn't go on do not disturb. I just wasn't thinking straight. I was just trying to like, I don't know. I just wasn't thinking straight. But for 40 minutes, they're trying to ring me in. What is, I don't understand what it's all about. Like this kind of ties into the topic we had. I was telling Matt a couple weeks ago where it was like fake politeness or like trying to like hang out with people. What was the can you remind me again what was the
I don't
general
know. I think it was like I
Yeah.
think we were kind of going back and forth between are people fake nice just to kind of like get over the awkward situation of meeting someone for the first time,
Yeah.
or is it
Or they want like yeah, exactly.
or
Or
they
do
wanna
they
hang
want
out,
like a hangout.
genuinely.
Yeah, so the time before this FaceTime debacle, I don't know why they rang me in like 50 times in the period of 40 minutes, but the time before that, I was on the phone with them. They called me and are we sorry,
No,
all good.
I was asking Matty to
Are we
turn me
good?
up a little bit. My voice a little bit. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead, Patrick.
So the time before this absolute debacle, I was on the phone with them, and I don't know if I told you guys. I swear to God, they're like, "Hey, like, what are you doing? Come hang out with us. Like, we can go here, there. Like, maybe get a coffee, or you can come over. Blah blah blah." And I was like, first of all, you guys are calling me on a blocked number. I have her number saved from Tinder, but they continually block their number, then call me. I was like, you're calling me on a blocked number. We don't even know each other. What are you guys doing? And I was trying to like play it off a little. I wasn't that blunt and direct with it, but I was like, I was kind of playing it off more playful, like, oh, like maybe if you guys eventually like call me at a decent hour and with your actual phone number instead of like a blocked number, then maybe we can think about it. So that's sort of the response I gave them. But they just crossed the line yesterday. I don't have my phone's recording. I was gonna block them right now as we speak.
You should have joined to see what was going on.
I was exhausted.
You should have just joined.
Nah.
See what was going on.
I know where he's getting at.
What is he getting at?
You know.
What am I getting at?
You know.
None of us. I don't think any of us know.
Mark read into this a very specific way that nobody else had.
But yeah, that's the rant I wanted to go. I guess okay. You don't think I should I wait for the next time they do this garbage and then actually pick up?
You should call them.
Why? For what? The story of it? No,
Did
I'm pissed off. Like I'm done with this.
When they FaceTimed you, did they FaceTime you on?
It was a FaceTime audio with like four or five other numbers that I don't have
What you
saved.
should do is you should call them back on that and spam them.
But honestly, who cares?
Who cares about what?
Like them. You know what I'm saying? Like, just why don't you just like not? Why don't you just block them like
yeah,
one time
why
ago?
don't I just block them? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It is weird that they're bothering you without really knowing you.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just like
It
block.
was so benign
Yeah.
before last night. It was so benign. And again, Matt, it was till 1 a.m. I was wrong about like the whole like 5-6 calls. It was till 1 a.m. It was all benign until that point. So,
yeah, it's
anyways,
strange.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Patrick's coming in hot today. He called me earlier just to be like, hey, we're going to talk about this on the show, but like, here's what's up. And then he just started ranting and raving. I was like, my goodness, this
I was yelling at the top of my lungs.
this really irked him.
Would it not irk all of you as well?
Oh, it absolutely would. I just want you to know. Now, stick with me for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not directly comparing these situations,
Okay.
but I feel a similar fury when I'm like either out or doing something or at work and I check my phone and I have like 4 missed calls from you within like 5 minutes.
Oh.
You know?
Yikes.
But no, I'm just fucking around. No, yeah, that's a little odd. It's a little peculiar even.
Is the laundry running right now?
It is
laundry
running
is
right now.
So why would we? What did you? Is that you're doing?
That's not my doing.
Okay, I was gonna say why would you choose to do it at this
That's not
time?
my doing. That's for sure. Is it getting picked up?
Nah,
Barely,
you're good.
barely.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who's listening, just like on their phone or whatever, would hear it.
Yeah.
They won't know.
Yeah. Anything else we want to air out?
No,
before
that
we
was
get
it.
into
I don't
this?
got anything for this cold open this week.
I
I was almost in a car accident today. That was fun.
Oh wow.
Oh, I feel like you come with a story like that every couple weeks.
Do I?
Yeah,
You-
it's
you-
like all
Just
like
'cause
on the
people
roundabout.
can't-
This
Are you
person.
insinuating he's a bad driver?
No.
No, it wasn't the roundabout. It was right by the A&W there. Turning onto the. I was trying to
that
avoid. I was trying to avoid specific street names. The A&W right here. So you know how like people make the left out of that A&W parking lot to the lights right there.
Yes. It's you have to cross like 2 lanes of traffic.
Yes, you have to cross the traffic going this way to get into the traffic going this way. There's this big ass truck sitting in the parking lot there waiting to take his left. I'm coming down the one road towards the lights. The light's red or whatever, so there's already a couple cars.
So the A&W's on your left at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
The guy
What if we just froze and
makes his left turn or starts creeping in to make his left turn as I'm approaching. Now I'm in the left lane. There's somebody beside me in the right lane. And then in the leftmost lane, the left turning lane at the lights, there's like 1 or 2 cars ahead there already at the
you're not.
light.
You're in the middle.
Yeah, I'm basically in the middle of the 3 lanes as I'm approaching. He starts creeping and he sees me coming. Starts creeping and I'm thinking, oh, he's just getting into the left turning lane to make a left at the lights, which is what people do sometimes where they sort of start like creeping out and they just wait and make sure nobody's coming. So I'm not even like I'm aware that he's there, but I'm not even really like paying attention to it. At like the last possible second, just guns it right ahead of me into the middle lane that I'm in. And I was like immediately horn and just like, what are you doing? I was doing like 65, 66, 67. Like if I hadn't been paying attention and hadn't stopped, I was going into that guy's ass. And the most frustrating thing is I was like, well, that guy doesn't give a fuck because he's in his big stupid truck. So all that's going to happen is his car is going to be damaged and he's going to be fine. And I'm going to be the one who gets crumpled up his car's ass doing 65, fucking hitting the back.
Do you
of
have a
that
dash
thing.
cam?
No, I don't.
And you would have had to pay.
But I will say I had my...
What?
Why would I have to pay? I didn't do anything.
If you're in the
one
back,
that came into my
if you're in the
lane.
back 9 times out of 10, you get blamed.
Not when he's coming into my lane. I have the right of
But
way.
Patrick's,
there's-
but Patrick's
there's the
saying
footage of it.
Patrick's saying it's he said she
You
said.
need the
There's
footage,
no
bro.
footage of it.
Need the footage.
He's saying that like
But in what other circumstance would he have come out of the parking lot and gotten in my way and I hit him? Would I be at fault?
In what other circumstance?
Yes.
Oh.
Because the only other circumstance would be he did it with so much time.
I'm not saying in
And
actual.
then I still went up his
I'm
ass.
not saying in actuality you would have been at fault, but the cops would have been called, and then he would tell his story. He's gonna be like, "Oh, he hit me from the back," and you would say your story. He came out of nowhere, kind of thing, or like he.
A&W and
And
the
then-
bank right there. They've got to have security cameras. I don't buy this shit. What else was I going to say? I was going to say something else about this that frustrated me to no end. Where was I going?
I can jump in here.
I don't know. It's just it was dumb. It was stupid. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I immediately started doing it out of a sheer paranoia in the moment because I had my work bag and my laptop in the case on the passenger seat, and because I stopped so hard, the case and my work bag went flying.
damn.
and
That
then
happens
were,
all the
on
time to me.
floor of
When
my
I have to
seat.
break last second. I'm like,
Yeah.
But normally I either catch it or it just shifts a little bit. But it launched forward
sudden.
because
Yeah.
again I was doing 65 to nothing in the matter of a couple seconds. And right away I just on my phone in the notes app typed down the fucking car, what type of car it was, the fucking license plate, date and time and everything. Because I was like, if I open my laptop bag
It's
at
broken?
work and my laptop is fucking broken or some shit because it slammed into the front of my car because of this asshole, I was like, I'm going to the cops with this guy's fucking license plate and shit and everything.
Let's go.
Thankfully, as I'm sure you can all tell, the laptop's fine. Mark,
it
go
is
on.
fine. I have a little story to tell. I mean,
Here we go.
It's not really. I was considering making it my topic, but it's just a quick story, and it involves Patrick as well. So, Patrick and I went to a church gathering the other day, and it was so there was a two-part activity thing where it was the first part was they were supposed to go to a board game cafe, and Malcolm's blindfolded.
He's been blindfolded for the past 5 minutes.
So Patrick and I would go to this church thing, and we miss out on the board game cafe, but they're going to a restaurant after. So we go to the restaurant, and of course, as Egyptian people usually are, they're very late, and we're we get there right on time.
Don't I know
Right at 9, we get there right on time, and we're standing around, and this, when you go into a restaurant and there's the first door, and then there's a little box gap, and then the second door.
Sure.
So
sure.
we're standing in this little
in between.
in between space.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for so long, 30, 40, 50 minutes. We're waiting almost an hour for these people to show up, the rest of the church people. And we look inside the restaurant, and Patrick notices a guy, sitting by himself, just, on his phone. And there's, big tables all set up for a big group. So Patrick's I think that's the guy, one of the guys from the church or whatever. And I'm like, I don't really want to go sit with him. Patrick's like, me neither. So we just stand there and talk for a while. And at the end, right before the people showed up, I was just like, why don't we go sit and talk to him? Maybe he's a nice guy or whatever. And then these two girls show up that we had met last time, and they were like, oh, why don't you go sit with this person? And then we're like, oh, I don't know, we just didn't. I think we made something up about how we didn't know that he was a part of the group, even though it was kind of obvious.
Know where we were sitting, whatever.
Yeah, so we're like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. And then we all walk in together, and we sit down, and I try to introduce myself to him, and immediately I feel like he's not being normal. I just said, hey, my name's Mark, nice to meet you, whatever. And he was just kind of averting my gaze, not making eye contact, being very standoffish. I'm like, okay. And we sit down and we talk, and it's made very apparent to me very quickly that he's a strange guy. There were multiple things that he made multiple comments about anti-gay comments.
Oh no.
Very out of nowhere, super out of pocket.
And everyone at the table was like, what is happening?
So basically
right
there
now?
was
Never a good sign when somebody starts off that way.
Yes. So the rest of the people show up, 20 people, and at the end of our table there's this I think Asian girl, and she got brought by one of her Egyptian friends or whatever just to come eat and hang out with the church community. And the guy is sitting where me and Patrick are sitting, and the girl's on the opposite end of the table, and he's trying to shout across to this Asian girl, and he points at her with his index finger. He goes, hey, are you gonna convert to our church? And then everyone's kind of raises an eyebrow, what's this guy talking about?
Wait, this is the weird guy.
The weird guy.
The weird guy.
He asks her, and then she's kind of how do you respond to that? She's like, I'm Catholic. I came with my friend. Whatever she said, something like that. I think she said she's Catholic.
But she's not with a date. She's with a friend.
With like 2 girlfriends.
Why
Yeah.
the fuck would she convert now?
I don't know. Anyway, that happens, and then he goes, "Oh, well, I'm just asking because like Pope Francis has been what do you say? What was the term he said? You remember? He said he's been bugging,
flip flopping,
He
or
said,
like.
he said he's been bugging recently.
Oh yeah.
And then people are like, what are you talking about? How is Pope Francis bugging? He's like, oh, like he's kind of like allowing or like sanctifying same-sex marriages or whatever. What?
Sorry.
What's up?
That was purposeful.
TV?
I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, he's been bugging because, he's been allowing same-sex marriages and shit like that, or like, purifying that or making that holy. So like, basically insinuating that she's gonna convert to get away from a religion that allows that, I guess.
What?
Mhm.
It was weird. Everyone was like, all right, dude. Like some guy was like, yeah. And he like started talking about whatever else. And then later he made another anti-gay comment, like way later, like way later we were talking, and he was like, so we were talking about schooling systems and stuff. And one of the girls that was there is a grade 1 teacher, and she was like, don't send your kids to school. It's like, they're gonna get like taught wrong things, and they're gonna be like, I don't know. She just said it's like there's too much shit going on in the schools where you're not sure what's going on with your kids. Kind of like the idea of homeschooling might be helpful, whatever. And then he goes, yeah, especially because like all these like a lot of these admin and stuff are like,
Homosexual.
yeah, homosexual.
Oh
Yeah.
I'm
And
telling you right now,
and
dollars to donuts. This guy's gay as fuck.
But also,
This guy is
also-
so gay and so repressed and in the.
Yeah, right.
This guy is so far deep in the closet. I'm telling you.
He's like
did
he's like
this
they're
thing.
all gay and they're
Dollars
all.
to donuts.
he did this thing as well where he would make a joke, and if you didn't acknowledge the joke, he would say it 6 or 7 times again. So
Yes.
we're at an
Yeah.
Egyptian place, right? And one of the appetizers,
Dude,
as you could imagine,
Dude, take your shit off.
one
That's
of,
annoying.
one of the appetizers, as you could imagine, is hummus.
Sure.
Right?
Oh,
So I'm
no,
just looking at the
dude.
menu. I'm trying to figure out what I want to eat, and he looks at me. He's like, "Hey, are you feeling the hummus?" And I was like, "Huh?"
Good one.
I was like, "Huh?" He was like, "Oh, I heard the hummus here is really good. I think I'm gonna go for the hummus."
Was he expecting? Like, what was he expecting?
I don't know.
What was
So
he
so I just
expecting?
looked at him. I was like, "Oh, I haven't tried it. Maybe I'll try." I wasn't giving it to him.
Yeah.
I just wasn't giving him a reaction. And he proceeded to say it 50 more times. Like, I think the hummus here is really good. Hummus, hummus, hummus,
And then-
hummus.
and then
he
he-
turns to the people beside
he
him.
gave up on you once he saw that Patrick wasn't giving into it,
Yeah.
and he like looked over to these 2 girls beside him, and he was like, "Have you guys tried the Hamas or
Yeah.
whatever?" And they're like, "What?" And
Yeah,
he-
yeah.
he's
And,
like,
and then they were like, ha, 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 ha.
A
And they're
yeah.
like,
YouTuber
"Oh,
I
'cause-"
like made that joke 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
SNL made that joke like a couple months ago. So good one, guy.
Hamas. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So one last thing.
yeah,
He when we first sat down, he did this weird thing where so it was me and Mark,
Yeah.
right, and then the 2 girls sitting across from us.
Yeah.
We're on chairs, and they're in like the booth with the couch.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to sit next to the girls, and over the span of like 2 minutes,
Mhm.
he kept inching closer and closer into this
I
girl's
didn't notice
personal
that.
space.
How
Mhm.
old is this guy?
like 20s.
He's
our
in,
age.
He's in civil engineering.
Maybe
he's minimum.
He's an undergrad, so
He's an
like
undergrad, yeah.
He's 20 minimum.
Yeah.
What was weird to me as well is that he would like he kept saying like multiple times, he'd be like, "Oh, like what were you guys talking about over there? Like I missed what you guys were talking about." And then like some guy would be like, "Oh man, we were just talking about like TikTok or whatever." and then he'd be like, "Oh, okay." And then he would
This fucking
yeah, and then one last thing, there were times, oh yeah, I literally heard him say like, and I quote, it was like, or I'll paraphrase, but he said something like, "Oh, like I said a good joke, so I wanted you guys to hear." Like he said something like that, where he was like, "You guys missed the good joke that I said."
Oh Lord.
So I was just, it was just
based
so,
on what I heard.
Yeah.
I'm in extreme doubt of that.
And here's
being true.
and the last thing I'll say is, these girls were like, "Oh, why don't you sit with him? He's so nice." And then as soon as we started talking to him, he's like, he's awkward as shit. Which some awkward people are very nice people. I'm awkward sometimes, but he was like really negative and pretty straight up homophobic and also not funny. And he was just like, and he was okay. He seemed like a satire, like someone was like acting a bit, like the people do like a super dorky, like glasses, kind of like Discord mod, like neck beard, like very like full of himself, very like unaware, thinks he's funny, like that
Yeah.
shit. Like people
To the
like,
max.
it looked like he was a character. It was
to
crazy.
the max. Yeah.
I have
to the
2
max.
things to say
Yes,
about
please.
this.
Yeah.
Number 1, when are we getting this gentleman on the show?
we could
No,
we could
but
hypothetically do it.
I would rather chew broken glass. Number 2, and I want to illustrate, underline, bold, italicize what I'm about to say here. Do you understand now why in my general day-to-day life I make an effort to not talk to people and not meet new people and just stay away from everybody else. Because I have
Yeah.
myself, family,
Yep.
and, Varsha, girlfriend, and loved ones. I've got you guys and my friends and our work friends and some of my school friends, yada, yada, yada. And that's it. That's a roster of, like, maybe 50 people.
I feel like
And outside of that roster,
Yeah.
I'm like, the rest of you, the other 9 billion and change people can all get fucked.
to me, honestly, I feel like most people that you meet will be kind of like boring to you. Like they won't interest you. You won't have matching interests. You'll feel like their personality isn't grabbing you. It'll just be like forgettable.
Mm.
And to me, that's like fine, like that's gonna happen most of the time. It's the ones like that guy where I'm left like sighing and rolling my eyes constantly, and everybody's so uncomfortable with him.
I was extremely uncomfortable.
And one guy was like,
Yeah.
one guy told him like, he's like, again, man, about the gate, like again.
Yeah.
And he was like, like he just didn't get it. He didn't get that
not
he was
getting
being
it.
weird.
He's just not
See, that's
making
also one of those situations where even though I just told you guys that I would rather, anything than be in a situation or like meet people like this generally, there is also a part of me that enjoys being in those situations.
Calling it out.
Just to, not even like calling it out directly, but I just like the subtle, I like the hornet's nest kicking.
Yeah.
And just like the poking the bear with the stick of like, yeah, but like, what about this little fucking thing?
Yeah.
What about that? Like just being annoying, but not like,
It's pretty satisfying to not give them, because all he wants is attention.
well, also that.
And he's like, as soon as you lock eyes with him, he's got you, and he's gonna stick with you for a while. So like, you kind of like, you look away, you do all these things, and it was really satisfying to see this one guy being like, all right, man, like, and then like kind of talking about something else. I was like, that's how you handle it. You're not being like mean to him directly.
Mhm.
You're just letting him know that this is not how this conversation
Yeah,
should be
it's
going.
not how it's not how it is.
I
Yeah.
kind of want to experience this. I just want to see it.
Honestly, it's
I
fun.
want to see it firsthand.
It's kind of fun, and I think it gave us something to talk about. Give me something to talk about in this cold open, and
This
I
is
think
true,
in the
yeah.
moment it was just kind of like,
In the moment, it was just not fun. At
I feel
all.
like everybody
See, it's
acts
the
like they
joy
did.
of doing a podcast now,
Yes.
though, because there's these life moments that normally it would have been just the four of us out,
Yeah.
whatever, one night, and you would have been like, oh, the other fucking day this weird thing happened.
Yes.
Now it's content.
And I just feel like in the moment there's this weird thing where everybody's acting like they don't want this to be happening. Like we so badly don't want this guy to be here and speaking.
Oh, I absolutely know that.
But
feeling.
subconsciously, everyone's like, I'm sure a lot of people are like, we're glad this is happening because then we can all team up and be like, isn't this guy fucking weird as shit? like we can all kind of like band together and be like,
Mhm.
we know what's up and this he's not it.
Yup.
He's not it. There's this. So I was at school today, and I was in the elevator, and I was going to a lab meeting. One of my lab mates comes into the elevator, just really quickly out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting him
It's like
coming.
sweating.
No, he wasn't sweating, but like he was like a lot
frantic,
of breath.
yeah.
He takes his mask off, like he was wearing a mask. So he takes the mask off, and he goes, "We're going up with the elevator." He goes, "Are you okay with the death penalty?" And I was like, "Huh?" He was like, "Yeah, I was just having a conversation with this girl, and she was like, she believes that you should get the death penalty, even if you killed someone by accident. Like even if it was an
Wow.
accident, you killed someone, you
Good.
should get the death penalty."
Good.
And I told him, I haven't really thought about my feelings about the death penalty, but I know for a fact that I don't agree with it in that
Accident. Yeah,
circumstance for sure. He's from Germany, by the way, just for some context. He's an international student. But yeah, what do we think about the death penalty here, boys?
Oh, you want to just? Why don't you make that your topic? Or do you have a completely different
I
topic?
have something different.
Okay.
But
Yeah, we can
I
talk
guess
about
we
that.
could.
I am anti-death penalty, yet
Mm.
I feel like there are
Well-
very select circumstances
well, what I told him-
where I'm like, yeah, I'd launch that guy like in a fucking trebuchet against a brick wall.
Well, what I told him was I haven't really thought about that much, but just off quick sort of evaluation, I feel like the extreme cases of, a Ted Bundy or a John Wayne Gacy, I could
Sure.
see people supporting the death penalty
Yeah.
in those
But a lot of people would
circumstances.
argue that like keeping them in prison for a long time is like a more
I kind of agree.
Harsh.
it's more like harsh
Sentence.
on them as opposed to like letting them.
I don't buy that
because
because unless you're torturing them the whole time they're in there,
They got
then
food
I don't,
and-
like they're just living
Just
like
chilling.
this.
Can we? Oh, sorry. Go finish.
They're
man.
just living like a mundane. Yeah, like they have all these freedoms taken away. I'm like, yeah, but you get to walk around still.
Some
I
of
think
these
it
guys
depends
don't
on-
go. Like some
people-
of them are in solitary confinement, like on
But
death
that's
row
sure,
for like years.
But that's what
and
I'm saying. I'm
years.
like, unless you're like torturing these people,
I think it depends.
mentally or physically. They're like,
I think it
prison is the punishment thing. I'm like, nah, fucking like castrate these guys with a fish hook or something.
I think it depends on the personality of the guy too. Like some guys might be like, to stay in prison for years, like they're gonna go crazy,
Mhm.
and some guys might just be like, because they're so insane and murderous, they're just like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I don't really care what I did. I was just gonna hang
Mhm.
out here and whatever.
I think Malcolm was gonna weigh in.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. With your opinion.
Kind of with Matty. I'm for, but not for the death penalty. I'm for it in the case of like the very extreme cases, but like the kind of like murder, just like murder a couple people, like just stick them in there for a little bit.
Malcolm, do me a favor.
You
Tilt your
wag the
mic
finger a little bit.
slightly more. Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
it.
Do we want him to
That's
repeat what
it.
he said?
No, I got it.
Boink.
I just wanted it
I-
slightly
I-
more.
It's definitely it gets gray really quickly because you said, oh, like murdered a couple people. So then where's the line?
many
like
people?
4 people, 5
Well,
people.
that's what I'm saying. I
is
feel
it
like
their
it's-
psyche?
It's
What
incredibly
is
a
it?
case by case thing because it's like if some guy like robbed a convenience store and like shot the clerk working there, I don't necessarily know if I believe in giving that guy the death penalty because I feel like the idea should be more the like rehabilitation route.
Get this guy straight.
But some guy who comes up and is like, yeah, I like diddle kids or whatever, like
Yeah, like,
that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
There's
so
no coming back.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna just tase you in the balls 8 hours a day for the next week, and then when you're done with that, then we're gonna fucking
But
eject you into the sun.
here's the thing. You've heard, I know a lot of people have heard stories of people who have done horrific things like that, and they go to programs and they get better. And like I've heard people be like, this person like transformed and all this stuff. So to me, it's like, my instinct is to be like, yeah, with those horrific cases, just like no one needs that sort of person on the planet. At the same time, like you never quite. I feel like what makes me a bit hesitant is like you never know what could happen with people once they kind of like get that intervention.
Mhm.
Maybe you know.
There's 2 things for me. I agree with you on the intervention point, but also the idea that under the right circumstances, under the right environmental
They wouldn't have been this
conditions,
way.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe.
Many people can succumb to
Sure.
horrible, I guess. Again,
Yeah.
that's not to take away, like, in the end of the day,
crimes,
people
yeah,
have
yeah.
agency
Yeah.
and you do what you do, but I don't think at the same time, we shouldn't undersell the effect of environment and how one was raised and
Yeah.
the influences they have.
I think at the end of the day, we all
Yeah.
agree. It seems that like for people who have done truly horrific stuff, which is subjective, but there's many things that we can think of. Someone who's raped many people or murdered many people, like a serial killer. Like in those instances, no one would feel bad for that guy, and they'd be like, you know, he deserves that. I just think it is a very gray area, and I don't know. I think case by case, I might think it's deserved one here in case A, but not in case B.
What does
Mhm.
everyone think about Carla Homolka being on parole, just out of
Who?
jail, living a completely normal life?
Who's that?
Wait, but she never went to jail, did she?
She never. I think she went to jail for a
I
little
think
bit.
she got away.
Who's that?
Wait, I think she did a plea
No, I
deal.
think-
Carla Homolka was
I
Paul
think it was a plea
Bernardo's
deal, actually.
wife.
Who's Paul
Bernardo was an individual who, well, they together, I think, killed and
killed
dismembered
her
2 people.
sister.
Her sister, yeah, Carla Homolka's
They
sister.
raped and killed her sister
And a 15-year-old
together,
girl.
and like a couple other girls
Yeah.
as well.
So
Is this in Canada?
this was
Yeah,
in Ontario.
Ontario.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
And
sure
so-
they threw a couple of the bodies into the lake, like Ontario.
Yeah. And so Carla Homolka did a plea deal with, I don't know, whoever the prosecution was at the time, to sort of nail Paul Bernardo. And then she got off scot-free. It was only after the plea deal that I think they found a bunch of tapes where her true intent, like she played the victim card kind of thing of like, oh, it was like all him. And quickly tapes emerged revealing her to be like as
The
maniacal
mastermind,
as
Crazy that
almost
these-
the mastermind.
It's crazy
Then
to
why
even
didn't
think
they
that
go
these tapes
after her
exist.
after
She left
that?
Canada. She's not in Canada.
Where
She's
the
in
hell is
Canada.
she
What are you
then?
talking about?
Is she in Canada right now?
Yeah,
Because
she
last
lives in,
I
like,
heard she was.
Montreal or something, and she changed her name, and she brings her kids to school and all that kind
That's
of stuff.
insanity.
And why
I
the fuck wouldn't they have
Like,
gone
she's a-
after her?
yeah.
Apparently, like she goes on like school trips with her kids, and like some of the other
Yeah.
adult like
This is
parents
definitely
just aren't having it.
This is definitely something we should look into. Are you sure she's in Canada? Because
I'm
that's just the one
100%
thing
sure
I'm
she's
not
in
sure
Canada.
about.
Wherever she is, I
Yeah.
would take her and feed her alive to lions.
Just
Throw
throw
a
her-
little
throw her
Roman.
in
I
a
think that's a good
zoo.
place to end the cold open.
Roman style calls you.
Roman style.
Yum, bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, anyways, I didn't think we could have a longer cold open than the Riyadh episode, but I guess we did
How
it.
long was that?
Give or take a half hour.
Damn. Yeah, we kind of
Anyways.
just went on 1 hour older.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful sound, fellas. It's a good night Shout out beer. Hello. Welcome back to episode 55 of Wildly Adequate, the show about anything, everything, and you guessed it, usually nothing. I am one quarter of your hosting crew, Mr. Matthew Urso, and I am joined by, as always, Patrick, Mark, Malcolm. If you like the show, please like, share, subscribe. We post new episodes every Saturday. Check out the socials. Check out Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're all over the fucking place. Yes, Patrick.
I've been meaning to do this for a while. We have a pretty dedicated listener. His name is Bola, which means Paul in Arabic. Just shout out Bola.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for
Thank
listening,
you,
man.
We love you, buddy.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Paul.
you listen all the time, and somehow I gave a. Well, I guess I was mentioning Manchester City. That's why I mentioned your brother, but we appreciate you, man.
Paul, I'm
We
not
do.
even going to attempt to pronounce your name the Arabic way because
He
just look at my skin.
Oh,
He just said it's Bola.
Not even going to attempt it.
What's
I'm
difficult about
worried
that?
I'm worried I'm going to butcher it. Anyways, now that everybody's here,
Yeah.
as Malcolm's chowing down, Mark, take us away.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
wait, me?
So my topic really came up last second when I was driving. I was going to the gym with Malcolm, and we were passing by. I think it was the Montanas there. Is there Montanas there? Turtle Jacks. And I was thinking about how much as a kid, I looked at those restaurants like Montana's, Turtle Jacks, Jack Astor's, Kelsey's, all these sort of restaurants as that's the best shit that's out there. That's the pinnacle of food and restaurants. It's expensive. I could never go there and spend I don't have enough money for that as a kid.
Yeah.
And I went to a birthday party there once at a Montana's, and I was like, this shit is so good and so expensive. This is rich people food. When you get older and you whatever.
Yeah, this is it.
And then I went there as an adult and with my own money that I made from my job, and I was like, this is so not good, and it's so subpar.
Montana's especially.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Just really bad. I'd honestly rather eat fast food. So it got me thinking about stuff that I liked as a kid but that I hate now. And so that's my topic. I want to hear about stuff that you guys used to love or used to idolize or think was so great. Even if it's a person or an activity or a place, whatever. And now you're just so whack and I don't like it at all anymore.
Can I
Well,
make a comment? Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I know Patrick idolized Bill Cosby as a kid. Go on.
Yeah. And he still does, but Patrick, what are you gonna say?
So then why bring it up? It's not even in the it's not even in the theme
That's
of
why
the
I was
stuff.
correcting. I was correcting him that it shouldn't be said.
Shouldn't be
'cause-
said. Okay. Just I want to make a comment on Turtle Jacks. For whatever reason, so during the pandemic, there was the lockdowns, as most of you know. I'm pretty sure most
Good
of our
time.
listeners are from North America. There was a lockdown,
Yes.
and I relied heavily on Uber Eats
Mhm.
and Skip the Dishes. One of my go-to orders, and this would happen in its peak, it would happen 3 times a week minimum.
Oh my god.
I would order food from somewhere, like a burger or even maybe from Turtle Jacks.
Yeah.
But whatever I ordered, my dessert would be a brownie from Turtle Jacks.
Wow.
It was insane.
Not
It
good
was.
saying
it
this,
was good?
I remember, and you say it often. I need to get a brownie from Turtle Jack.
I would say it
Was it
often,
good?
but it was amazing during the pandemic. But now, for whatever reason, I remember we one of the times we went to watch
For the
the
playoffs.
playoffs. You remember?
I was with you
at Matty's
I
house.
was with you, and I was so pissed at Patrick because we were missing one of the periods because
Yeah.
it was taking so long to get his.
I
order.
didn't think it would
No, it
take that
wasn't
long
your
to get the
fault, but
brownie.
it took
Yeah.
a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh, I remember
I
that.
had the brownie recently after the pandemic. I don't know what changes they made. Not even close to its prime. Not even close to what it was during the pandemic.
Mm.
Yeah, so
I'm
that's
gonna-
my
I'm
little
gonna throw out
tidbit I
another
wanted to
thing.
throw. Yeah.
I'd say as a kid, I didn't love these places, but I was always excited to go there, and there was something about it that I was like, this is great. I know you guys still probably like this sort of place. Now I can't stand any trampoline place that have just
Love
jumping
it.
around like a Sky Zone type thing.
Love
Where you
it.
just jump around and you throw these shitty little balls. To me, it's so not fun now. But as a kid, obviously that seems amazing just to jump around with your friends and all that stuff. But now I have no interest in doing anything like that. I don't know why.
Really?
Insane.
Love it. Still love
You
it.
still love it.
bouncing around.
When?
doing
How
some
often do you go to
flips.
Sky Zone though, or
Maybe once
Air
a year.
Riders?
Once, twice a year, maybe.
Twice a year.
How is that often?
That is way more often than I would have thought. Twice a
What?
year? Have you gone? Have you gone this year or last year
To what, like Sky Zone?
or Air Riders or any trampoline
I don't know if
park?
I've ever done Air Riders, but Sky Zone, I think I did at least once last year and haven't done it yet this year.
Yeah.
But Varsh and I talk about.
You did it
doing
once last year. What month
Yeah.
was it last year?
I don't know.
I'm gonna throw out another
Have to
example
be
while you guys.
earlier.
You're
year.
confident that you did?
I think I did it last year. I'm not dying on that hill.
I'm gonna throw out another example just to jog your guys' memories and stuff.
Yeah.
Plain burgers. As a kid, I would
burgers.
love, like, I'd go to McDonald's and we'd go to the drive-thru and I'd say, give me like a burger, no pickles, no onions, no ketchup, no like nothing, just like bread and meat. And that was something that I was just obsessed with. I would have it all the time. Chicken nuggets, plain, no sauce, still like that. But like burgers with nothing on it, I used to love. Now that's super dry and I would never enjoy that. I need like ketchup at least, or ketchup or cheese and shit.
Yeah, you're priming me to just think about food right now.
Yeah.
But as a kid, everyone's went through this. The kids menu.
Yeah.
One of the main things on there is the chicken fingers, right?
And the fries.
And the fries. Used to be my shit all the time, but I can't. Obviously, well, I'm an adult now. I'm not ordering from the kids menu, but like I had a chicken fingers recently at a place just because I was like, they have plum sauce with it. I love chicken tenders, so how different could it be? I was absolutely and utterly disappointed. Chicken fingers is not the same as chicken tenders. I don't think. I mean, in appearance, and I guess in
just based on
the way it's made, sure, but
yeah. Based on you saying it, I feel like fingers are more like frozen. I mean, they're probably both frozen, but to me, fingers seem more like they sound more like
processed, maybe
processed and kind of like consistently the same shape. Whereas tenders could just be like thicker cuts of chicken or whatever. I think they can be good. I just think generally they're just frozen and just whatever.
Yeah, they're
Going
for
back to what
idiot
Mark was
kids.
saying earlier, I used to also love Montana's like crazy. Like my parents would take me there. Like if you win this soccer game and score some goals, we'll bring you to Montana's. And I'd be like, that's crazy.
That was the
It's
fancy place.
craziest thing ever. It was a fancy place, and I'd go there and I'd only get chicken tenders every time. And I thought
Really?
I thought it was the craziest place ever. I'd get like 12 chicken tenders if I did really good at a game. My parents would let me go. And I think the last time I went there was when we came back from a camping trip in Tobermory. Trash.
Yeah, really not
It
good.
was so bad. Chicken sandwiches. Were you there? You were there. Mark was
I?
not there. Mark
I wasn't there.
It was me,
I don't think I've ever been
you, Merrick.
To, like,
Was it the Mel
Oh,
trip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not good. And it was expensive.
Yeah. So in my teenage years, for those who don't know, no, sorry, that's not what I wanted
Killer.
to. That's sorry. I started that sentence the complete wrong way. For those who don't know, I'm a barbecue fiend. I could bathe in barbecue sauce. I could guzzle it. I'm just all in on barbecue
You
sauce.
would take a Joe
And that's
Rogan
why-
type ice bath in barbecue sauce.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why in my teenage years, I was really into Montana's because their whole shtick was they had like 3 kinds of barbecue sauce at the table, where most places would have ketchup, salt, pepper. They had 3 different kinds of barbecue sauce. And
I was running out of breath. He's so into
yeah, so into it, bro. And so I would order whatever I would order. I would always
Like a
douse
burger?
it. I had 3 options, and throughout my meal, my experience would change because I had a journey of 3
Can I say,
things. You know what I'm saying?
there's a sauce that I've been liking so much in the last couple of years of my life that I need to ask for extra of it, and I need every bite to have a piece of it. And that's like, anytime I go to like an Afghani restaurant or any Arab restaurant, and I get like grilled chicken or kebab with like rice and the naan and whatever, the bread, there's always like that white
Yogurt.
garlic sauce.
Isn't it, like
Isn't it
tzatziki sauce or
yogurt?
something?
It's like this like garlicky, yogurty sauce. Yeah, it's like this
Yeah.
garlic sauce. It's so fucking good. I had it today. Every bite of chicken I need to touch this. Like, I need it to be touching the sauce. So he gave me like one little cup in this big plate.
Yeah, yeah.
It was delicious. And I finished like the first piece of chicken and I was already out of sauce. So I was like, can I get an extra one? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he just gave me one for free. And I was like, great. And like I need every bite of bread, every piece of rice, I dump a little bit on there. It's so good.
Yeah, I know I mentioned this on PlayStation last night, but we do need to take these boys to Masraoui.
That'd be great.
It's a great place. You guys could try. It's a little pricey there.
What's
You
this
guys
place?
could try
Crazy.
pigeon.
It's not crazy.
The
Oh,
pigeon
the pigeon's
specifically is
crazy.
42.
I'm not eating pigeon.
Can I just say, okay, maybe this will sell you more. The shit that you guys
I'll
had,
try it. Fine.
the stuff that you guys had downstairs, like the grape leaf
The
stuff.
mashy,
yeah.
They have that, like they have it wrapped in like a pepper wrapped in like the rice and meat and whatever, and pepper and cabbage and zucchini. Like
It's
they have
so
it different,
good,
and it's
bro.
like hot and fresh.
Here's
It's
my
so
thing,
good, dude.
because I just talked about this recently with Patrick, because he was like, "Oh yeah, you gotta try pigeon."
I've never tried it. Actually.
My question is, where at this place are they getting these fucking pigeons from? Because if it's like
Central Park.
this is my point. If it's like, oh, the pigeons come from Egypt or whatever, and it's imported. You guys would know this.
Sorry.
Wait, you guys would know this better than me, obviously. But I have zero context for what like an Egyptian pigeon is. So that could just be like a fucking.
Let me
farm
give you the
animal.
context.
That could just
Let
be like
me
a farm
give
animal.
you the
When
context,
you say,
baby.
Oh, they serve pigeon at this restaurant in North America, immediately I'm thinking like, yeah, the fucking thing bobbing its head while I'm walking down.
Listen,
Queen Street in
listen.
Toronto.
I don't want to
They
talk.
killed that rat with wings and now they're serving
Patrick,
it to me.
can you tell them how to say pigeon in Arabic,
Hammam.
and then tell them how to say bathroom.
Hammam.
What the fuck is that?
I swear that's real,
Come on.
dude.
That's
man.
not like people
It's
swear
not
that's
the
real.
same word. It's not the same
said
word.
the
You didn't
same
hear the
thing.
difference?
Hammam.
fucking talking like
Hammam.
English where they're like, oh, it's really stupid in English that like read and read are spelt the same. I'm like, yeah, but they
That
don't
was good, bro.
sound the same.
That was good. I
That's
actually didn't
the
even
stupidest-
process.
I always
Oh,
thought of that. I
man.
was like, why are you guys eating bathroom?
That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Listen,
They stuff it with rice and stuff. Right?
They stuff with rice, yeah. They love stuffing off with
Oh, dude, put-
stuffing
whatever you
stuffing
got,
stuff with
it's
rice.
better with rice in it.
Yeah. I
We
don't know.
We got that. What did you? What else did you get yesterday? You got fattoush.
Just before I get into that,
Sure.
amazing by the way, the foot.
It was very good. I had some.
It was
Wait,
really
is
good,
that
yeah.
the place you went with all the church people?
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Oh,
where
the weird guy
the
was.
strange.
Where the
Next
weird
time
guy
you go
was.
there, invite me and Matty, but make sure the weird guys and be there.
Yeah, specifically
and only him there.
invite the weird guy. And then
And one of the many beautiful women who are there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, just to put it in context, you want an Egyptian pigeon? That's what you want? Listen, I love
because I have
Egypt.
no context. For
I
an
love. Let
Egyptian
me give you the
pigeon.
context. I love Egypt,
Sure.
but let's be completely frank here. Let's not
Mhm.
sit around here and pretend like it's something that it's not. The
Third world
sanitary,
country. Oh.
the sanitary standards over there. Well, it's not. Is it third? Like, is it
No.
full blown third world?
I don't
think so.
believe so.
No,
There's a lot. There's
But-
many parts of Egypt that are. It looks like
It's-
Mississauga or
and
something.
Cairo-
There's many
Cairo's
parts of
like-
Egypt that look a million times better than here.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
would argue.
Cairo has parts
some of the really
it,
nice
surely
parts.
that are like
There's a-
Bougie as hell.
Dude,
That's what I'm
there's a
saying.
part of
Bougie as
Cairo
hell.
called like New Cairo, and it's literally like skyscraper. It looks like Dubai, like
where'd
piece
they
of
come
it.
It's
up with
crazy.
that?
Yeah, it's
No,
beautiful.
I'm just talking shit. Go on.
But yeah,
Tell me
so
about
the
these
sanitary
Egyptian
standards aren't. I would argue that I'd rather have a pigeon from here that was obviously
So
they're not
you know
taking it
that
from the
it's eating, like
streets.
Canadian trash.
Where'd they get
They're
that?
not gonna take the pigeon
Farms,
from the
probably.
streets, Matthew. It's obviously gonna be raised on some sort of regulated area.
Sure. Look, all I'm saying is, I'll take a bite. I'm just saying, don't expect me to like
To love
dig
it. I'm
in
not
and
gonna
be
expect you to
like,
love it.
wow, this is good.
Yeah, it's a delicacy. Just
I'll
so
take
you
a
know.
bite.
Dude,
See,
it's literally
as soon as
it-
you phrase it like that, my fucking radar
Doesn't-
starts going
won't taste
off.
good.
Because it's the same thing in like China when they're like, yeah, shark fin soup, it's a delicacy. Which first of all, you're killing all my sharks. Stop it. And second of all,
Do you want to try that?
shark fin soup?
Do you ever? Do you have? Does any part of you want to try
Not
that?
even remotely, because I'd feel so upset innately.
I also feel like it probably wouldn't taste
really?
very good.
Shark's
anyway.
my favorite animal ever. I grew up
I
as
know,
a
but
kid.
what if they taste amazing?
Everybody
what
who
if it's
talks about it
euphoric?
says shark fin soup is like just okay.
So you're just okay or amazing?
Just okay.
Same with- same
it's
with-
eaten as like a delicacy, and it's eaten like in other parts of the world as like a rich person move. Of,
That's
like,
what it
fuck
sounds
you,
like,
I'm
yeah.
eating a
Hold on,
shark.
but it's
I've heard
not
the
a rich
same-
person.
I've heard the same thing with like turtles. Like turtle soup doesn't taste very good. It's just like,
I don't mean to use the word delicacy because I know some people use that word and it's immediately associated with higher class, like rich people. But no,
Sure.
this is not rich person at all. This is
like middle class.
This
like
is like
whatever.
cultural, like
staple.
sure, cultural staple. This is a cultural heritage thing.
I think
in
I actually
Egypt.
tried it one time, and I don't remember. I remember honestly, it just tastes like some sort of chicken, some poultry, and like the rice and the spices would kind of make it. I think I don't know. I mean, I don't remember much about it. I just don't remember it being like memorably amazing or like horrible. It was just like it was fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it.
And that being said, it's not for everybody, but
Sure.
for me personally, I really enjoy eating it, and
And
it sticks out to me.
there's a really good rice. They have a really good rice pudding. I tried there. It was really good. Like I honestly didn't think I would like rice pudding, and I've been loving it.
That's a Portuguese thing too. They do the rice
Oh.
pudding. The last time we were in
Beautiful.
Portugal, we went to some fucking town because they were having a rice pudding festival.
Dude, I want to go there so
That was
bad.
an all-day production that I will never get back.
Dude, listen to this.
Yeah.
I went to Egypt, and my mom was like, "Why don't you try this rice pudding dessert that they just ordered from this bakery?" And I was like, "I don't like rice and dessert. Like I don't. That's gross. I don't want that." She's like, "Just try it." It was literally like this like cold rice pudding with like this thick layer of like warm fresh caramel, and then like vanilla ice cream on top. And it was like this vanilla caramel like rice creamy. It was so good. We got it like once a week there. It was incredible.
Mhm.
Like you have to try it, Matty.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a caramel guy, they do it like that.
I want to say two things.
Sure.
I guess just to close us off on Egypt.
Please, yeah.
Maybe it's the nostalgia, but honestly, I think Egypt is what I want Egypt. Sorry, let me just think about how.
That's
I say it.
crying.
The extent to which I want Egypt in my life in the future, I want it to be like I have a place there and I can go there a couple months at a time.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually I'd want to live there for an extended period of time just so I can say I've done it.
Yep.
But at minimum, I want to have it like every few months, because what you're saying, like in New Cairo or in these more bougie parts of Cairo, it's first of all cheap in our perspective because the Canadian dollar is so much stronger than the Egyptian pound, and it's so lavish.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
I love being there in those moments. So
I mean, not to mention our families and stuff like that. My parents like keep talking about like getting a place there, and then me and my brother having a place here, and then they kind of like alternate. And for me, as you know, a teacher in the future, I'm gonna have like summers off, which is a nice way to like I can go back every single year.
Mhm.
Like I don't have to be like, oh, maybe not this year. Like I save money, I go there every single year.
And it's good to have like a sort of, it's not in
Home
Europe
base.
or anything, but it's like a home base because it's still close to Europe,
Sure.
other parts of Africa, close to Asia. So it's a good like checkpoint. If you
How sick
will.
would it be if we
Yeah.
brought them to Egypt? That'd be so cool.
I really want to go to Egypt.
bro,
It's,
I would
really
love
bad.
to have a
The
trip
pi-
like that.
when I went to the pyramids
the
last
beaches
time,
are crazy there.
Like I hadn't gone to them since I was a kid, and like standing next to the first layer, the pyramids, like the first layer of like the 1,000 layers or whatever. The first layer was like 10. It was like way hot, taller than me.
Huge.
Like the first brick was way taller than me, and I was like, how the hell is this even possible?
that first.
Speaking of the pyramids, while we sit here recording this stupid fucking show, my brother's currently at the theater watching the new Godzilla Kong, and I'm so jealous right
Gives
now.
a shit about
and I
that.
think about the pyramids because there's some clip I saw from it going around online where Kong comes, because they do like you didn't watch Godzilla versus Kong. I'll talk to these two. They do the Hollow
That's
Earth
okay.
thing again, and there's a clip where Kong just like comes out of
What's
like
the Hollow Earth thing? When you
where
like
it's
bear?
like the planet's hollow on the inside. There's like the whole ecosystem in there, and like at the end of that, where
Oh,
Kong's
shit,
like hanging
okay.
out. He climbs out of like the sand, out of the Hollow Earth, and he's like right by the pyramid in Egypt. And I think in the movie, obviously I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's like him and Godzilla kind of seeing each other for the first time again. And there's this hilarious ass clip where Godzilla immediately starts charging at Kong, and he literally puts both his hands up and has this look on his face of like, hey, it's me, like we ended on good terms, right? And Godzilla just fucking knocks his ass into the pyramid and like takes it out.
Hey Matt,
Egypt.
I'm not sure if you know this, but I have feelings and that kind of hurt. But it's okay. We're cool. We're cool.
I'm such a creature of habit that in terms of growing out of childhood things,
Oh, I was gonna
segue. Oh,
yeah.
did you have one more?
I had a childhood thing, but you can go ahead.
I feel like because I'm such a creature of habit, there aren't that many things that I've grown out of.
Oh,
in
okay. So
quotes.
then I can go because you
The
have nothing.
things that spring to mind are like certain TV shows and movies and things as a kid that I really liked. And it's not some of the shit that people might think, because I'm such a, as I've discussed, animation and cartoon dork, that it's like I still like cartoons and all that stuff and whatever from when I was a kid.
90s X-Men.
90s X-Men.
I've been watching
X-Men
it.
97.
I'm almost done the first season. You finished the whole 5, or you just gave up on the original?
I've been watching it now that 97 has started, so I'm kind of like ping-ponging between the two shows. I think the
Did
third
that
episode
just get
actually
added to
today.
Disney Plus? Because I
Yes.
saw it on the
So
catalog.
it's
so fucking
I haven't
good.
seen it. I've seen clips of it. I went back because I've only seen like the first few episodes of the original X-Men show. They have 5 seasons. It aired from 1992 to 1996, and then now they have one called X-Men 97, which is so sick. 'Cause it's like continuing, like as if it's like the year after. It's all 90s animation style, but it's like kind of crisper and more like sharp looking and like.
So
It's
it's not
three-
retelling the story; it's picking
It's just
up.
it's literally continuation.
literally-
so you have to
it-
watch the original, no?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm sure you'll understand it,
Yeah.
but it's technically like this, like the year after 96.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for the end of 90s
I don't want to know because I'm watching it.
Okay, well then.
I'm
no.
watching it.
But basically, like, all you really need to know from the 90s X-Men, they established right in the beginning of 97 of, like, hey, this one character thing happened, and, like, it's a year later, and the X-Men are still kind of doing their thing. So far, at least in the first 2 episodes of 97, there's no, like, remember this in, like, episode 3, season 2 of the 90s show? Like, it's very much... Because I think they want to get
New audiences.
new people in, so it's very much like, hey... this history exists if you want it, but like all you need to know is yes, it's the X-Men.
It's
And
like it's like Marvel shows on Disney Plus where they're like, you don't have to watch the movie, but if you've watched it, it gives you extra
yeah.
little extra something.
Mm-hmm.
But the fuck was I saying? So yeah, so cartoons is not the thing. It's a lot of like Family Channel shit that I used to watch as a kid, where
Sure.
like
Zach and Cody.
Zack and Cody
I was
or
thinking,
like,
like,
I
live
tried
action
watching,
Disney
dude. I
stuff.
tried.
Yes.
I tried watching it like last year. I couldn't get through
like
an episode.
Hannah Montana and all this
Oh my
like the
God.
live action shit that I used to watch as a kid, like iCarly and all this stuff. Totally fucking grew out of that and cannot do it anymore.
We talked about that the other day at the restaurant, about that guy, like Dan Schneider or whatever.
Dan Schneider, yeah.
All I hear
Oh
about
my
that
God.
documentary is like the most heinous shit that was going on in
Yeah,
Nickelodeon.
and then even just like blatant stuff of like people saying there was like episodes where they're like iCarly, like their feet are out and they're dumping shit on their feet, like all this weird
there's
stuff.
all these. There were the clips going around. Like there's one of Ariana Grande lying like on her back on a bed.
Yeah.
But she's like hanging her head off the bed, and she's got like a water bottle, and she's just like spraying it all over herself, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it's like,
Like they definitely told her. to
man,
do
that's
that.
not a good look. Or there was some other clip where it was like one of the cast members, a young girl from one of the shows at that time, and Dan Schneider like sitting in a fucking hot tub together, and they're doing like some promo reel thing, and she's like, yeah, I'm here with like Dan Schneider or whatever, who like is this head up guy at Nickelodeon, writes all these shows. He's like, yeah, blah blah blah, whatever. And she's like, and you wrote this conversation we're having right now. And he's like, yes, I did, blah 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 blah. It's like, audience, a lesson in, go to the one, or the two, I should say, a lesson in basic self-preservation. Maybe don't write yourself into a scenario where you and a minor are in a fucking hot tub together. Just as a basic lesson in self-preservation.
I just saw a video of the iCarly set,
Yeah.
and they were like saying happy birthday to Miranda Cosgrove or something. I don't know how old she turned. And Dan Schneider is like really close to her, like holding her shoulders like this, and then he puts his arm around her and he's putting his head against hers, and he's like all happy, and you can see her, she's kind of like uneasy and trying to move away from him, and he just like keeps holding her.
You know what the weirdest thing about all this, and this was insane, because I haven't actually watched the documentary yet, but I hear so many things about it that it's actually got me kind of interested. There was some guy working at Nickelodeon. I don't remember if these were two separate people or the same person, but there was at least one person that was working at Nickelodeon that they didn't know was like a convicted rapist.
Oh god.
Then went on to work at Disney, and they knew he was a convicted rapist.
Oh,
Wow.
awesome.
Now this might not be the same, and all people have been saying since
He's
the
just so
Nickelodeon thing came
talented.
out is like we're waiting for like this equivalent documentary, but about
What
Disney
was his
and
role?
all their shit. I don't know. He was some like head up thing, but the other I can't remember.
He was such an asset.
I can't remember if
What's
these
going on
two
with
people
the-
were the same person or separate people. So this other person, which may or may not be the same as this rapist dude, they literally talk about in the documentary. I couldn't believe my fucking ears when I heard this shit. This guy had this like clown painting in his house, and somebody from one of the show's cast member, I don't remember if it was Drake from Drake and Josh, but it was somebody who was at his house, and he's like, oh, you want to see something? Because they like asked about like, what's with the fucking clown painting? And he opens it up, and there's like a safe, and in it are letters, just letters.
I'm so scared. I am
'Cause
so
he was
scared.
Pen pals
Mm-hmm.
with John Wayne,
Wayne
Gacy.
There it
Oh
is.
my
They
God.
were pen pals.
There it is.
What was going on at Nickelodeon? Jesus
Jesus.
Christ.
Dude, some girl when we were at the restaurant the other day said that Dan Schneider literally impregnated Amanda Bynes or something when she was like 14 or something like that, and got her pregnant.
Yeah, that's what they were
That shit
saying.
wouldn't surprise me. I think what's frustrating about the documentary to some people is that her and Ariana Grande, I think, are the two big ones that like haven't spoken.
Who, Miranda?
No, Amanda Bynes and
Oh,
Ariana
Grande.
but I know,
They haven't
I know.
spoken
who's the-
publicly about any of the shit.
Who's the blonde girl from iCarly? She's spoken a lot about
Oh, Sam.
Jeanette
it.
McCurdy.
She
there.
wrote a book about it or something.
Well, it was more about her mom and like showbiz,
Oh, I
but
see.
she talked about it too. So it's like a lot of, and even Drake is in the fucking documentary
Drake
talking
Bell,
about
yeah.
like, yeah, I was like sexually assaulted by like some producer or whatever the fuck. And it's like, but people are kind of like waiting for them to say something, which they haven't, which is a little odd.
I mean,
Like, you'd think you would want to come out and be like, yeah, like
Especially Miranda, who's like still in the public eye a lot. I guess.
I don't know. There's some people think they paid like either signed NDAs or got like paid hush money and shit forever ago to like not say anything. But you know, that's where the tinfoil hat comes in.
I saw that. Sorry, Matty, but
it's okay.
Jerry Trainer, Spencer on iCarly. I
Right.
just read this because I just saw this.
Spencer. Oh, the older
the
dude.
older guy.
Right, yeah. I just saw this stuff like a couple days ago on Dan Schneider, weirdly enough, and he would show up to set on days he wasn't supposed to be on set, just so he can keep an eye on Dan Schneider and make sure that like his coworkers weren't being like
Oh, God.
touched or assaulted or anything like
Oh,
that.
like you're saying, he would kind of make sure the girls weren't being
Yeah,
messed with.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Man.
Okay. Anyways.
Where is
in a good way. I don't know if
So
you guys
what did you
No,
took-
in a good way. I
Yeah,
know in a good
no,
way, but it's
okay.
just scary that he had to, that was
Yeah.
necessary.
So what did you guys like as a kids? Was
The
I was, but
live
sorry.
action thing was just the one that jumps out to me.
Oh,
of,
yeah.
like, shows and movies and stuff where it's like there's a movie like Spider-Man 3, for example,
Loved it.
is not a good movie. I still love it. I still enjoy watching it because it's nostalgic and it's funny. It's the only one of the Raimi trilogy movies I saw in the theater. I know they're putting all the Spider-Man movies, like the original 3, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and all the Marvel ones back in theaters in May. I'm like,
All of them?
yes, across like a couple days.
All?
Yes, and I'm like tempted as fuck to go do like
All of them.
the 3, not all of them, but I would go do the three
three
Raimi
Samies?
ones just to like
Samies?
watch those in a theater.
That'd be awesome.
And it's like, so yeah, Spider-Man 3, not a great movie. I still love it and have a lot of fun with it. But
It-
there are like movies and things from that time where it's like, man, and not like obvious shit like, you know, the fucking YTV like Ben 10 live action movie. Like that's obviously
So
not what I'm
garbage.
talking about, but it's like, I don't
Lemonade Mel.
know, sure. Or
Loved
like
Lemonade.
some
Mel.
of the Transformers movies even where
I was
it's
about to say
like-
Dark of the Side of the Moon or whatever.
Yes.
That one, when it came out, I got the DVD for it at some point, and I was like, "This is my favorite movie of all time." And every movie that I watched as a kid was my new favorite movie. Like I remember we went to the theater to watch Hunger Games, like the first one back in 2012, and I watched it and I was like, "That's the best."
That was a great movie, though. That was a great movie, though,
That's the
to be
best.
fair.
And I still like it actually,
Yeah.
but like I remember and then I remember watching Transformers, and it was like around my birthday, and I was like, I got the DVD, and I was like, this is, and the cover for the thing was so cool, it was like shiny and shit, and I was like,
That's
this is
the
the shit, this is the best thing.
This is the
yeah,
best
and
thing.
it's like I look at those movies now where I'm like, I like the first one well enough. I think the third one's actually, I like it maybe more than the second one, but it's like the second one specifically,
What's that one called?
Revenge of the Fallen. That one, and then like the couple other ones after I saw when I was a little older. So at that point, I had enough sense to be like, these suck. But it's like those are a similar.
Wasn't there
thing
one with
where
like Mark
it's
Wahlberg in it?
Yeah, that's the fourth and fifth.
I never watched any of those. Were they bad?
Oh yeah, real bad. The worst. But those are like movies I think of too, where it's like, yeah, I'm like 10 and I don't know any better. Like hell yeah, the Transformers, and then I watch some of it now and I'm like, oh my
Dude,
god.
This is really off topic. I love anytime anyone does like talks about like Mark Wahlberg in a movie, and it's like always the same impression. Like no matter what,
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter what movie.
it's just
it is.
it's always like he's just out of breath.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, what's going on?
What's going on?
It's like, it's always like he's like so like
That's
breathy.
actually
and
so
shit.
good, though.
Is that a
That's
Transformer?
so
That's
good.
everybody does that. It's just like every movie.
It's
is-
just Boston accent out of breath.
Yeah.
Is that a Transformer?
Yeah.
Who here?
Optimus Prime?
Who here has been to the Rib Fest?
I've never been. To
You've never been to the Rib
I've
Fest?
been
there.
It sounds
didn't get
incredible,
anything.
but I tried
So,
it.
as a kid, just on theme of this topic,
Sure.
as a kid, I would go crazy for the Rib Fest every year.
Oh, like you'd go there every year.
We would go there, and it's always the same sort of layout where it's a huge, like,
U?
semicircle
Trucks, right?
of trucks. And you go, and they all have these deals, and they're making these fresh ribs. As a kid, we'd hit 2, 3, 4 trucks. Happy boy. For whatever reason, in recent memory, I've hated the Rib Fest.
Every
There's
time you
usually
go?
one in Burlington,
There's
one in
Milton, too.
Oakville. Is there one in Milton? I've
Yeah.
never been to the one
At
in
the
Milton.
Fairground.
It's just not. I think maybe. I think it might be that I just don't like ribs as much as I used to. Because even at
Interesting.
Mandarin, I
Bro,
would
Mandarin. come
even
on.
at Mandarin when I was a kid, go to rib.
I feel like you're saying that, but if you went to like Texas, and you went to like Houston,
Oh
and
my
you went to like a actual like
Mm-hmm.
family owned, like insanely good, fresh
Proper,
rib. Like I feel
yeah.
like you'd be like, this is the best thing I've ever had.
Patrick,
Yeah,
when,
yeah,
I, when I went
I
to
could see
Texas, we
that.
went to a specialty place, like I don't even know what you call it, but they only do meat and barbecue stuff. And they had fresh ribs, they had fresh brisket, they had
Brisket.
fresh
What's that
sausage.
called? A Texas? Is
Texas-
that called Texas steak grill? Texas?
I don't know.
Something.
I don't know.
Texas.
There's a chain called Texas Roadhouse,
But
but
that's
it's like a shitty
that's
chain,
like a restaurant, but it's
Yeah.
not a restaurant. This is like a
like a mom and pop.
single, like not mom and pop because it's so big,
Mm.
but like it turned in. I guess it's a single person owned thing.
Okay.
They made it big, but it's all fresh meat. You get like fresh coleslaw. You get fresh
Dude, mac and cheese.
cheese.
That's the shit. I'm imagining like a plate. To me, the best thing I could ever have is like a plate of like ribs, brisket, mac and cheese,
That
coleslaw.
sounds crazy.
That's- I
biscuit,
can't tell you
like a fresh
how
biscuit.
good that shit was. It was so fresh. It was hot in my mouth.
So good.
It was the perfect meat, the most perfect meat I've ever had.
Honestly,
I've never had
Wow.
meat like that, and I've been dying to.
The
honestly,
most perfect meat Mouse
Most
has ever
perfect
had in his
meat.
mouth.
say what you will about the South, They know how to barbecue.
Say what you will about the
They know
Dude,
how to barbecue.
Dude, the South-
might have tried seceding once, but other than that,
Dude, the South is on the up and up, man. Everybody's going
on the up
to
and-
everybody's moving to
everybody's
Texas.
going on the south.
Everybody's going to Texas specifically. I mean, like the comedy scene there is crazy. Like all these people, like Segura lives there now. Tony
Rogan?
Tony Hinchcliffe, yeah, Rogan.
They all don't like paying
Shit.
taxes.
Shane Gillis, like all these people now live in Texas and they perform at the mothership where Rogan started it.
Well, it's state taxes, so it's like you buy into the place you're living
Sure,
at. Right?
but like I mean,
So-
like I don't know, people are loving living there.
Yeah,
like in
yeah.
terms of like
South is just
being able to
great.
buy a house and
It's warm. Well, it doesn't get better than
I
that.
know we've all seen these videos scrolling through social media of real estate videos where it's like, what does
it's like $100,000 and it's like a mansion.
yeah,
It's
it's
like,
what
does
does
700,000 get you in
not
Toronto or
even
Vancouver?
not even what does $350,000 total buy you in Texas? And it's like
A
this
mansion.
5-bedroom pool, acres and acres of
I
backyard.
was
Canada-
gonna say yeah, but it's probably in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
I searched up a couple of the addresses. There was a couple that I looked up that were about 40 minutes away from Austin, so it is not in the
It's
big
kinda the
city,
same
but
as,
it's like
here to
it's like a
Toronto.
it's
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, but there's a difference between like a smaller, not that we're a smaller town, but there's a difference between like a small
This
town
is true.
and like the middle
Yeah,
of
this
nowhere.
is true.
But
It
to me
could
the-
be like, sorry, Mark. It could be
That's all
like versus like the top of the escarpment.
Sure.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
can't
Me-
wait
to me-
bleep all that out.
To me, I feel like the biggest thing about something like Texas is like, if you're making $100,000, you're keeping what, $100,000? Isn't it 0% income tax? Or
There's
is it-
still federal
something-
taxes though,
something like
right?
Yeah, but it's like extremely small.
Hmm.
So like a lot of people go there just like make a shit ton of money and not get, not have to pay, not
America
have to get
too.
taxed a lot of money, and then they're able to afford a
Yeah.
house and whatever.
See, I've been thinking about this recently. I'm sort of in a split sort of mind where it's like, on the one hand, you pay the taxes and you have some sort of insurance of like, okay, this healthcare is
You're saying
provided like here, for example, or if it is more of like the zero income tax, it's the umbrance is on. Is that the word? The onus. The onus is on you
pay for your own
to
stuff.
But a
pay
lot
for
of
your own stuff,
companies- a lot of
prepare
companies
yourself.
In the US, if you have,
They do have
provide you with
benefits.
healthcare and
This is
dental
true.
care and everything you need.
This
I
is
think
true.
I think to me, even if you, I think it depends on who you are. If you're someone who has like a health problem, or someone who is like likely to have health problems, then it makes more sense to live in a place that you're not gonna have to be like scrambling if you're not working for a big company or whatever. But to me, it's like if you're a healthy young person, I would rather live in a place like Texas where I don't have to like. I'd rather be like, oh, emergency, I have to pay for my own health services, but like that's an emergency and it doesn't happen that often. And most of the time, I'm able to just like keep all my money type thing. I think it just depends. Like I wouldn't want to do it if I'm like I have a health risk prone or something.
Yeah, well, at the
you know?
same time, like Malcolm said, if you are working
you-
at a
sure.
decent company, then you'll have some sort of
Not
coverage.
to
but-
mention, it is pretty beautiful. I like it. It's a little dry and deserty for my
Dude, let's
taste.
go to-
but
let's move
it
there.
is nice.
Is it possible for a state to sponsor us, or is that possible?
Texas, hit us up.
So wait,
We're
moving
taking
on with Mark's
sponsorships.
topic.
Sure.
I feel like I didn't grow out of things when I went from kid to where I am now, but I feel like I grew into things.
Okay.
Like as a kid, I only ate chocolate ice cream. I hated everything else, but now I would never touch something like pralines and cream or something like that, pistachio. And now those are the things I die for.
I don't like those.
Now you know that
I still don't
vanilla
like
is the
those.
way.
Vanilla is not the way.
It's not. It's really not.
Just-
Here's what I'll say about vanilla. That's one of those things where I didn't like vanilla as a kid very much, but now I'm like I like vanilla sundaes, like when they have like hot fudge on there or like caramel on there, whatever. It's a good base. I think plain. I wouldn't choose to eat it plain, but for the first
It is a good
time,
base.
I'm like thinking if I go to Costco next time, I haven't been in like a year or whatever. I'm gonna try the twist. I'm gonna try the vanilla chocolate twist.
Oh, yeah,
I've only
Never had a twist.
never.
Honestly,
I've only
oh
ever.
my god, dude! When the
chocolate-
ice cream truck comes by in the summer, you
I
get a
only get
fucking
chocolate.
twist, dude.
I only get chocolate, but I'm like, dude, I like vanilla ice cream with like hot fudge on it. Like, I like the chocolate vanilla combo, so I'm like, I'm gonna do the twist.
That's a good decision. That's a good
Are you
decision.
talking about the sundae or the cone?
Ivory.
I'm talking about like when you go to like you get a soft
Either
serve
or.
cone that's like a
Oh,
twist.
I'm not a
But-
big fan of that. When I go to Costco, I'll just get the vanilla ice cream and then I'll get the fudge and the pieces of brownie.
Oh,
in
bro,
there,
the,
too.
Oh my
the
God, they have brownie
fudge
there?
with the
Yes.
chocolate ice cream is
It
lethal.
is so good.
Matt-
Chocolate
So
on
good.
chocolate.
Matthew's gonna hate. Matthew's gonna. Matthew's gonna hate what I'm about to say. I grew into fruit on dessert stuff, fruit on
Yeah,
pastries.
I like that too.
Fruit on cake.
Never liked it. I'm such a food Nazi.
What
Where
about,
I'm like,
what about cheesecake? Like if you have like a strawberry. I mean, not, but not. I don't want chunks of the fruit. I want.
I love chunks of the fruit.
I
I
gotta interrupt,
want
but
want
the Costco, the same thing I was talking about with the fudge. They have it with the vanilla ice cream, but they put like like a fruity syrup and then fruits on the side. It is so
Damn.
good.
I
It's
love
so
fruit
good.
so much that it's so annoying to me when people are like, "Yeah, here's dessert with fruit on it." That's why I fucking can't stand pie, because my mom makes
love
like
pie.
homemade apple pie
With vanilla ice cream
apples.
on top and it's
Yes,
warm. Oh.
with apples from our backyard, and like everybody who
Oh
tries
my
it loves
God.
it. You know, Varsha comes over.
Why
and
have you
she's
never
like-
let us have this apple pie, dude?
Varsha
I love
comes-
apple pie's my favorite pie.
Varsha comes over and she's like, "Oh my god, your mom, like the shit she bakes, or like when she makes pie. Oh my god, it's like delicious." And I'm like,
I live 3
I
seconds
cannot
away.
stand
How many-
biting into a pastry.
We've known him
and
for a
then
decade.
I was about to say, how
We've
many
been in your life?
How many
We've been in
fucking
your life for a
years have
decade.
we? How many times have I said out loud that I love apple pie? And every time we're talking about desserts, every time we're talking about like last meals, I'm like apple pie, apple pie with vanilla ice cream on it, bro.
I don't know, it just hasn't come up.
I was gonna say I had a surreal and insane tasting strawberry shortcake at this guy's
Dude,
house, at Malcolm's
strawberry
house.
shortcake is unreal.
I think
It's
that
unreal.
was the turning point for me, because there were real strawberries, there were strawberries on the cake,
Yeah.
and I don't want to get too graphic here.
Mhm.
A little bit of blood rushed.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
A little bit of blood rushed.
Yeah, let's keep it
So
at that.
it's so good.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that's all I've got for this topic.
Yeah, I think it went on for a while. Thank you, boys.
Jesus.
Yeah. That was really not much of that topic, huh?
No, not really. That was a good one.
That
Though.
was fun though. That was good stuff. Yeah.
And we're back. Gentlemen, I have a more serious topic in nature this week. Well, I think it's more serious. It's a little more heavy. Because I was talking to Patrick and I had just said that I feel like, I've been doing some lighthearted and, entertainment and fun topics past few weeks. So let's get depressing. My topic, and there's a million ways this could go off, but what I just kind of wanted to talk about with you guys is the state of the world right now at this current moment in time.
I don't really know.
There's a million different ways this could go, but I think what planted this seed in my head is because I am not the most well-read or like well-educated person on like, politics.
Period.
On like politics or like, societal things and all this geopolitical shit. But I like, I watch the news basically every day. I watch a couple different like I watch John Oliver's show every week, and now that Jon Stewart's back doing the Daily Show every Monday,
I love Jon
or even
Stewart.
like Bill Maher's show, like I watch some of that. So like I watch these like, yes, they have more of a comedic slant, but like these political focus things. So I like to think I'm tuned in a little, not as much as I could or should be, but enough. And so I think about social issues and like politics and the state of the world and all these things quite often. But I think what put this into my mind in a fine point was a couple weeks ago we were having dinner, like my parents and my brother and I think like my Sasa was over and whatever. And they were talking about like the world and like things going on and all this shit. My Sasa probably brought up some like depressing fucking story like she usually does. Bless her heart. But my dad was talking and he was basically saying, like, he was talking to my Sasa and my mom and whatever, and he's like saying in front of me, because I was just sitting there, while they were all shooting the shit, and he was saying like, there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now and it's like getting pretty hairy out there and all this stuff. And he was saying, like, not kidding at all, where he's like, this fall I think my mom's planning on retiring, and he's like, yeah, when like Betty retires and whatever, he's like, the first thing I want her doing, or one of the first things I want her doing, is like going out and getting like some perishable food or non-perishable food items, and like not like a first aid kit, but like a survival kit and shit with like flashlights and like emergency equipment and like all this, like, not that we're fucking doomsday preppers, like we don't have a bunker, but like that type of like shit. Basically, he wants like a survival kit and whatever in the house. And then I threw in the joke of like, when are we gonna get the family gun? But like so he was basically saying that, like, he wants my mom to like prepare something like this. And hearing him say that was so, it just made it feel so real for a second, of like, oh, like my dad, who's way more tuned in than I am, but like, and I know my dad worries way too much about everything because he's so paranoid about things to a frustrating degree sometimes. But like hearing him, just the way he was talking about it and how serious he was about like, yeah, I want like a survival kit and shit like in the house or whatever, kind of put the thought in my head of like, like this is a very real thing that goes through my dad's head and by extent other people's heads of like, you know, how far are we away from like shit really hitting the fan and like, you know, things really getting dicey out there. So it just kind of, that's what kind of put this thought in my head of, you know, the state of the world. But I don't know, what do you hooligans have to say about this before I drone on more? Don't all jump out at once.
When I think about the state of the world, I tend to think how misinformed a lot of people are and how it's due to social media, because there's just so much false and fake content on there that people just don't know what is right and wrong, and nobody knows how to discern between what's true and what's false. You can read a headline, and like I'm writing a couple papers on this in school. You can read a headline, and as long as it plays into your bias, you're automatically just gonna believe it. Or the odds are
It's easier to remember.
It's easy to remember, and so you're gonna think that. And a lot of these things are tied to negative things like Palestine or Israel or like Ukraine and Russia or like all these terrible things going on. And it's like, it's so hard to be properly informed. And I hate to call out my grandpa for this, but he's constantly watching CNN, and it makes me so angry because he's like, he tries to say he's like not biased and like Trump's an all around 100% terrible guy. He's a terrible guy, no doubt, but like he's done good things. He's done some good things, but CNN is just like the outlet of like Donald Trump's a piece of shit, and they are so off to one side of like the argument, like of left and right. They're so far.
You bring this to I guess an American politics point of view. I was listening to this streamer who started popping up on my social media. His name's Destiny. He used to like game and stuff. And
I've heard of that guy before.
Destiny, yeah, he like has a beard. He's got black hair.
I know you're talking.
He like debates people now and stuff. I think he identifies himself more as like I think he calls himself a leftist, but his beliefs aren't like the typical leftist. He was
he had a video with Peterson.
He did have a video with
He had a long video with Peterson. People were like, yeah.
He did. And this is actually where I'm pulling this from. He was talking about how he believes one of the main drivers of the polarity in America right now is that people are living in two realities, people on the right and people on the left. They're getting their information from completely different places, two completely different set of facts, and they're not reconcilable. Is that a word?
I think so.
Pretend it is.
They're not I feel like an idiot. They're not reconcilable. That's not a word. You can't reconcile them. These two set of facts, these two perspectives. They can't coexist.
They are mutually exclusive.
So he was making the point of these two worlds need to come together if the States is ever going to move into a place where it's going to progress away from this, what seems to be ever dividing landscape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like when I think about this sort of stuff, I am not well informed, so I can't speak on any specific facts or anything going on necessarily, but I just feel like, I mean, people have talked about this before, but the idea that what gets clicks and views and, what gets viewership is like the negative stuff. And obviously there's a lot of negative shit going on the planet that needs to be talked about. But at the same time, like, the news rarely ever covers like this amazing, wonderful thing happened today. It's like, I don't know, like the negative shit is like a harder, more like impactful feeling right away. So I just think about how people there's a lot of shit to be negative about, but there's also a lot of things to be positive and optimistic about. And I feel like no one gets fed that good stuff. So to me, when I think of the state of the world, I just think of everybody's angry, everybody's upset, and nobody's trying to look at a silver lining or a bright side type thing. That's just what I think about. Maybe you could say that's ignorant because there is a lot of bad shit going on and you have to focus on that too. But I just feel like that's all that gets focused on ever when like society, like at least Western society, for example, is like in the best place it's ever been in terms of like people, like starvation is like way down and like, you know, Generally, like the economy is like way better than it's ever been. I mean, not right now, obviously, but like everything's trending better and upwards in society, in Western society.
Depending, yeah.
So I just feel like there's a lot of things to be like proud of and happy with, but like, you know, I have a balanced perspective, but everything's very like all negative, which I know with the conflicts going on right now, it's like, I get it. I get why. But even when there was like no conflict and everybody's like, consciousness, like right in their face, when it wasn't being talked about, it's still like all that's being covered is negative stuff. So I just feel like, you know, having some sort of, I don't know, balanced view of life and not just everything's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never be able to quite convey with the English language how much I despise CNN and Fox News specifically. I will never be able to convey my hatred and venom for those two organizations in a satisfactory way to myself, because I think those two institutions are two of the fucking worst things that have ever happened. I think one is worse than the other,
More blatant.
and I think some people might argue that's bias. I would make the counter argument that I think it's just, you know, the reality before us all.
Okay.
But I guess that's in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many ways of like looking at this, and these are things where it's like, well, save the American politic thing for the other side of it. But there is the thing where it's like, man, that Russia-Ukraine thing, man, that Israel-Palestine thing. And it's like, both of those I think about and like are the worrying things of like, oh boy, I hope those get wrapped up soon. And oh, I hope they kind of like, not to sound like selfish, because this is going to sound selfish, but it's like, I really hope those both stay where they are, because it's like, you know, months ago when there was like a couple Polish people killed and they were like, yeah, a Russian missile like missed Ukraine and hit Poland. And like, as soon as I read that news story, I was like, we had a good run. It's been nice. I've been able to get 23 years in. Would have liked a little more, but you know what? It's been fun. Like, and then they were like, it was a Ukrainian missile that fucked up. And I was like, I sure hope it was, because it's like, fuck if it wasn't kind of thing.
A couple days ago, I was hearing that the Polish government was going to address the Russian government formally because there have been missiles going over their airspace.
Would not surprise me. But it's like, that's such a frustrating thing, more so than the Israel-Palestine thing, because that has more than enough outcomes where that turns into a real fucking shit show. But like, the Ukraine-Russia thing specifically is more scary in that thought, because it's like, okay, well, first of all, the Russians have the fucking nukes, so it's like already off to a bad start. But it's that conflict is more directly implicates the West in the sense of like, hey, Russia, you're kind of right beside all these NATO countries, and they have this fun little thing called Article 5, which is an attack on one is an attack on all, which means, you know, when your bomb accidentally drops in Poland and they call Article 5, we have to now go to war with you. So it's like, maybe let's, you know, not do that.
You know, I don't really like Justin Trudeau, but
No?
but he was saying something about the Ukraine-Russia war that I did agree with. He was saying that, I mean, I also don't agree with how much money he's giving them, because it's a lot. But he was saying that this war 100% involves us in Canada, because if this war goes past Ukraine and Russia succeeds with Ukraine, they're obviously going to have some more plans. They're not just going to stop at Ukraine. They probably want to venture a little bit into Poland, in which case it completely involves Canada. In which case it involves a whole lot of us. And
This is-
I've also... Sorry, do you want to go? Or
Sure, I was just going to say, building on that, this is what frustrates me so much. I understand people who make the argument in America and and here of like, why are we giving all this money to Ukraine, blah, 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 blah. And I've even heard people, like, I fully agree with the arguments of like, Canada, America, we're not the world's police. As far as I'm concerned, we shouldn't be involved in all this shit. The U.S. having a fucking military base in like every other country on earth is the dumbest fucking thing and such a waste of money. Like, I am fully of the not like isolationist, but fully of the opinion of like, we should be getting the fuck out of everything. Everybody else, handle your own problems. And like, you know, if you need us, if you're an ally, that's one thing. But generally, like, why do we have to deal with your shit?
It's very like superiority complex of like, oh, we know better, that we're gonna like, you know.
Sure. Well, that's
Handle
definitely
the
more
shit,
the
kinda.
American perspective.
Yeah.
But at the same, and I understand people being like, why is my tax money going to all this shit and blah, 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 and why isn't it going to help people here? I understand all of that. I just find it's incredibly short-sighted to not see the bigger picture of like, it's in all of our interests that Ukraine wins or like gets them to back down or like causes a stalemate, or it's like, it's in our best interest for that to happen. So yes, if it means we need to give them more money than I wish we were, if it means we need to give them like all these weapons and shit that like arguably is just being in a war anyways to some extent, like, I get that it's not a perfect solution, but I'm like, what is the opposite? You just hanging an entire country out to dry of just like, all right, good luck. Try your luck with Russia. Like, you hang an entire country out to dry. And yes, you then also basically say to Russia, like, yeah, just swing your dick around wherever you want and like, we'll all just roll over. Like, at some point there needs to be like a line in the sand of like, we really need to stop you because we really don't need this bleeding over into like, you know, where the best case of the Russia-Ukraine thing is that it doesn't become our problem. The best outcome is not, let's just stop doing anything until it becomes our problem.
I've heard the argument framed in another way as well. I think just the first thing we should all acknowledge here, and I think we all, understand, is that Russia, we're not in the Cold War era anymore, but Russia's not a friend of the West.
No,
like,
clearly the bad guy in this situation.
They are still the opposition, so to speak. And so I've heard people make the argument of it's in the West's best interest to help Ukraine fight, and a byproduct of them fighting is degrading the Russian military and the Russian capability of having an offensive kind of thing, really depleting their resources.
Discouraging them.
Exactly. Go on.
I was gonna say, even on top of that, like, just knowing who Russia is allies with, even if it did move forward, is a little bit scary as well. Like, China supports them, North Korea supports them.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like Russia's
How
necessarily.
can you be on the same side as North Korea and not reevaluate and be like, I'm on the right side of the world here?
But that's
What?
the thing,
Why
too.
are you doing Trump hands?
Oh my goodness! Am
I just went.
Bro, it's because my elbow.
Trump did say
my
that
left
he would end
elbow is
that
so-
war in 24 hours once he becomes
But
president.
this is the thing too. Yeah,
what?
it's like,
Donald Trump claimed that if he becomes president, he would have that war done in 24 hours. It would be
yeah,
done.
because he'd be like, go ahead, Putin, do whatever you want.
Dude, I was watching. I keep watching like Shane Gillis do the Trump stuff, and he said that after he was doing it for a while, he would just talk like that all the time.
But it's
He would
just
do that.
See, I already have the hands of the
Yeah.
Italian in me, but it's just like, yeah, that's the thing too, where it's like, yeah, Russia's also not like alone. It's like, where do you think they're getting their funding and like weapons and support and shit
Some
from?
pork.
Some pork. It's like, who
Where do you think they're getting their
Just a little
bacon
pork.
from?
Who do you think's helping them out? It's like China, which is a whole other geopolitical problem. But it's like, so there's that. The Israel-Palestine thing is obviously like equally fucked up and equally like just beyond belief of like, there was videos on Instagram the other day where it was literally just like Palestinian dudes just like walking.
Oh my!
on
I saw
some dirt
that
road
one.
and just getting obliterated by drone strikes. And it's like, how anybody can look at that and not be like, what the fuck are you
They didn't
doing,
have
Israel?
weapons. They didn't have any military like things on. They're
Yes.
just four guys
They're just
walking. Looked like they were going for a
dudes
stroll.
I saw a video of this guy, this like representative of Israel, and he was like, "I hate that we're forced to be doing this type of thing." And I was like,
Yeah, it's-
sometimes I guess he was referring to like the October attack or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the person who was interviewing him was like, "Yeah, but like, what about these like innocent people like who have no weapons and like they're just like civilians and
You
they're-
were forced?
yeah."
It's
I
complete
wish
fucking
you were
horseshit,
forced.
and the fact that like the rest of the world, you know, us and like the U.S. included, aren't out there being like, yeah, maybe stop blowing up hospitals and shit is complete. The whole thing's fucking insane. But even that's a thing where it's like, you know, when the U.S. has some cruise ship over there, and then it's like Yemen or Syria or one of the other countries nearby that's like on the Palestinian side is like, you know, taking like pot shots and shit at the U.S. warships and whatever. And it's like, aren't there enough problems in that part of the world? Do we really need to like start like there's already this giant shit sandwich. Do we really need to start throwing in like more fucking variables into this thing? Like, it's incredibly frustrating.
Also, I don't know how it would work, but I think in the US it's pretty clear that the large majority of the population supports Palestine and they want no part in Israel's like, I don't know, Israel's part of it. They don't want to be contributing weapons. They don't want to be contributing money towards killing all these innocent civilians. And it's like, I know Kamala Harris and Joe Biden knows nothing.
Sleepy Joe.
He's not conscious. But Kamala Harris knows what's going on. She knows what the people are thinking. There's no doubt that she doesn't. What? Like, I just don't understand. She doesn't really say much about it. When she did say something about it, all she said, she was like on like some talk show. She was just saying, "Oh, it's terrible what's going on over there. I just wish there was something more we could do about it. This and that, this and that." And I'm just thinking, but you guys are sending warships to Israel. There's blockades of trucks. There's rows and rows for kilometers and kilometers of trucks with food and supplies and stuff for Gaza that are just completely blocked off that Israel won't even let in.
Yeah, the whole thing, it's a giant clusterfuck that's far too complex diving into here, but the long and short of it is just like the whole thing's a fucking shit show, and it's like past like October 8th onwards from last year when it was like October 7th, and it's like, yeah, these Hamas guys did this like objectively horrible thing, and that's a whole other thing I won't bother getting into, but the people that were like, that couldn't call that what it is, of like raping women and like murdering innocent civilians on the Israeli side, it's like, call a spade a spade. It's fucked up and horrifying. The immediate response of like, yeah, we're gonna kill some of these Hamas guys, blah blah blah. I'm like, this is a recipe for disaster. Since then, has very clearly become like a, yeah, what happened in October was like clearly evil, but like, have you ever heard of like, you know, maybe taking things too far in retaliation? That whole thing is a shit show too. But these are things I refer to in the state of the world. American politics. And your boy Donnie T, for example. This is another thing, world stately wise, that is also on my mind, and I think about considering, like I mentioned before, I watch some of these like, you know, political comedy things, shows and whatnot, that, you know, a lot of what they've been talking about
It's very political.
is, you know, the 2024 American election coming up. And it's like, that's another thing where it's like, I never thought I would say this. I don't really want to say this, but I'm like, man, Sleepy Joe. Patrick, which one of these cameras goes out to Sleepy Joe?
See.
Sleepy Joe. I'm begging you. You gotta win. You just have to. I don't want you. Most of your country doesn't want you. They're gonna do it begrudgingly. But you gotta pull this through.
I don't think
I don't think you're going to, unfortunately, but you've got to pull this through.
I honestly think whoever the Republicans, and it is Trump, right? But like, if even whoever it is, they're going to beat Joe Biden. Like, no one wants him again, and I think any Republican's going to win. And if in the next election, let's say Trump wins, and the next election 4 years from now, or when's the
Sleepy
is
Joe
it
runs
the
again.
election this year?
This year.
Yeah. So in 2020, what?
8.
2028 with the next election. If they elect Joe Biden again, he's losing again.
Bro, he'll be in a home.
Like, they got to pick
I
somebody
promise
else.
you,
Bro,
he'll be at home by
there's
then.
no way he'd be in a functioning state to be
No,
the
at that
president.
point,
In 4 years
probably-
from now?
he's
That's
probably
cr-
like,
that's
he's
insanity.
cold and gone
Mail
at that
for
point.
sale.
But it's like, the American election is a whole other shit show where it's like, I just don't even know where to begin with it. And it gets into like the whole Fox News CNN thing, and like how there's all these different ways where it's like, US, you gotta like get your shit together. Not that we're perfect, but it's like this shit of like, you
When's
just
our election gonna be?
No one even gives a
Hopefully
shit.
soon.
Bro, no one even gives a
Hopefully
shit.
soon.
Everyone's just. I feel like Canada right now is in the same place of the States of like, no one wants this guy who is in power, and we just want to get rid of him. And it's like, other than that, no one gives a shit about Canadian politics. Like, we know that this guy's not it, and we want to get rid of him. That's what everybody.
Canadian politics ever since Justin Trudeau was in is like, oh, look at this young guy. He's handsome and he's commanding Canada. That was it. No one knows anything, and now what they know is everyone wants him out.
This is a whole other thing too, where it's like I just wish people thought about things more, because it's like, again, and I mentioned this forever ago on the show, I don't necessarily feel one way or the other about Trudeau. Honestly, don't know enough to really feel one way or the other about him. But what will never cease to frustrate me is the people that are like, yeah, we want him gone and blah 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 and get him out and all this shit, and they're like, and we're gonna go to fucking what's his face, PP,
Pierre Poilievre,
PP, and it's like, all right, like, throw the conservatives in again if you think that's gonna be like the solution to this shit. And it's the same in the States when people are like, yeah, we don't want Joe Biden, like, get Donnie T back. And I'm like,
it's just a pendulum. It just swings back and forth.
It is, but it's just like, all right, if you think throwing Trump in is going to be a good idea, like, buckle up.
I think it's just like, yeah. I just think, I mean, the people can vote. The people are going to just go back and forth until they get sick of one person. And
that's just how it is. But I saw this thing that there's this individual who changed his name to
literally anyone else.
Literally anyone else, and he's going to be running for president in America.
Knowing America,
on the ballot,
he's going to pull some numbers.
Donald Trump, Joe Biden, literally anyone else.
RFK.
RFK.
No, but it's the whole, like, the American thing is particularly worrying in the sense of, like, I don't want to overstate it, because it takes the onus away from people and political parties and, you know, news organizations and all this shit.
Okay.
But I don't think people quite understand how devastating Trump has single-handedly been to that country. Because when I think about, like, state of the world and things like starting to go to shit, not that he has anything to fucking do with, like, what's going on in the Middle East or, like, Russia and Ukraine right now, but specifically within the US, where it's like, man, from 2016 on, the day he got in, we've been on a fucking roller coaster since then. And it's like, he's to blame for a lot of it, but I also don't want to, like, give people the out by putting it all on him, because it also does frustrate me where it's like, hey, the entire left-wing side of politics in Canada and America, like, when he got into power, let me be clear about this, because I'm on that fucking side, even though it frustrates me to no end. This is why I feel such a kinship with, like, Bill Maher and Jon Stewart and these guys who are so clearly liberals but can't fucking stand the stupidity that goes on their side. It's like, we didn't have to fucking go off the deep end when he got in. We could have kept our shit together and, you know, yeah, we got him out in 2020, but it's like, he also wouldn't have ever got in the first place if you ran any other normal candidate who wasn't fucking Hillary Clinton.
I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Bozo maneuver.
Yeah.
At the same time, I also don't like giving him, or putting it all on him and giving the right wingers the fucking out of, like, we all kind of knew that they didn't, but it's like, come on, the fucking Republicans. Like, you immediately had to just show your fucking hand as soon as he got in, where it's like, yeah, we love him. And it's like, you guys couldn't just grow a spine and stand up to him. Like, you had to immediately fall hook, line, and sinker for his bullshit. I know you like a lot of his bullshit. I know you agree with a lot of his bullshit, but it's like, fucking Mitch McConnell and, like, who's the fucking Kentucky guy or whatever the fuck, Lindsey Graham, like, all these fucking piece of shit Republican politicians in the States who, like, you know, I'm for America, and, you know, we don't like the liberals in fucking New York and California, and we're all about real America and the Constitution and blah, 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 blah. And then this fucking guy comes in who wants to be a dictator and fucking thinks we should do away with all this shit. And of course the president should be immune from fucking murdering someone in the street and all this other shit. And it's like, yeah, that's our fucking guy. And it's like, what happened to the party, you know, that's all pro-Constitution this, and, you know, the fucking left is trying to tear it down and all this shit. So it's like, I feel like he kicked off both parties becoming the worst versions of themselves, which I blame him for, but at the same time I blame them for letting it happen. where it's like I blame the fucking left side for it's like you guys lost your fucking marbles and continue to lose your fucking marbles when he was coming around and got it and all the shit. You fucking lost. Get over it. And the fucking right wingers lost their minds too because they either, to give them the benefit of the doubt, sold whatever husk of souls they might have actually had, or just proved that they never had any fucking souls to begin with, and then it was all a bunch of bullshit. Patrick, you were about to say something earlier, I thought. Never mind. I will continue the rants. Yeah, it's just infinitely frustrating. I hope they don't fucking put him in again, but it's like, I don't know, Joe.
It's looking
It's
like
looking
that's
like
where it's
you're
headed, baby.
who's gonna be running against him? Is Joe Biden gonna be running again?
Yeah.
It's Joe
He's-
Biden.
I think they've officially
It's
announced
officially-
They'll
Joe
be
Biden,
running
baby.
for re-election. Trump will go. RFK will be there, but it's
He is
like
straight up
Biden.
not
Independence.
going to win.
Who, Biden?
Biden can't. He can't win.
I think
I am
I think it's
doubtful.
almost certain that Trump's gonna
the
win.
the only hope that I think that fucking country has in not getting him in and getting Biden in is my hope beyond hope that you can reach enough people with the thought of like, because before when him and Clinton were running, there was a lot of like the lesser of two evils and all this talk, but it was like, but nobody really knew what he was like capable of or was going to do yet. So even though if I was living in the States, 10 out of 10 times, I would have begrudgingly been like, I guess it's Clinton in 2016. I can put myself in the shoes of people who were like, fuck Clinton, fuck the Clintons, like blah, 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 blah. I'm going with this guy who's like, you know, I'm living in some small mining town that's like, the economy here has gone down the shitter, and this fucking guy comes and says, even though he's so fucking full of shit, it's laughable, but comes around and is like, yeah, I'm going to like bring your town back from the brink and all this stuff. It's like, I can put myself in those shoes. Seeing everything since then, my hope beyond hope is that enough people can like sit around and look inward and like, look, it's either Sleepy Joe, who, bless his heart, who knows if he's even going to make it through another term. But it's Sleepy Joe, somebody who you might not like, you might disagree with, yada, 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 all this shit. Or it is like, I don't want to sound hyperbolic, but it is like the worst thing to happen to your country. Because it's like, I don't know what people think is going to happen with him in again. He already put 2 fucking justices, or was it 3, on the fucking Supreme Court, and look what happened. Bye-bye, Roe v. Wade. And I know that abortion's a contentious thing and blah, 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 and all this shit, but it's like, and then you have that Clarence Thomas justice on the court, that fucking dickhead, being like, yeah, and maybe we'll look at like the whole gay marriage thing again soon too. And it's like, all right, buckle up. Like, if this is what you want to sign up for as a fucking country, then it's like, be my guest. But it's like, I look at it the same way here. It's like, again, I don't necessarily have an opinion one way or the other on Trudeau, but it's like, I will take him over PP and the Doug Fords and these people who are coming out trying to do this shit of like, yeah, what if we like privatized healthcare and all this shit? And it's like, no. What if we just kept doing things the way we're doing it and made it better instead of just saying, now let's tear it all down and then turn it into the fucking states? And I know we were saying before of like, yes, there's jobs in the states where it's like they give you healthcare and all this shit, blah, blah, blah. But it's like bullshit. The amount of fucking people who go broke and all this shit in that fucking country for an appendix or like some other menial dumb shit like that, let alone the people who have like the actual serious, like, you know, fucking cancer and all the like life-threatening shit that goes on. It's like the solution to me is not to emulate the US's healthcare system. It's like the idea should be to take what we have, what's worked for so long, and make it better. And to look to other countries where their things work better. You have all these fucking Republicans losing their mind in the States when Biden's like, yeah, we're going to like wipe away some of this like student loan debt and all this stuff. And all the fucking conservatives down there lose their mind. And it's like, don't you want to get people and your country out of debt? Ignoring the logistics, but purely philosophically. Don't you want people to be able to walk into a hospital and be all right? Don't you want people to not be buried under crushing debt this whole time? It's like, I get that this isn't an apples to apples thing, but it's like, why do you think Denmark and some of these like Scandinavian countries and all this shit are like the happiest place to live in every fucking year? I feel like we've mentioned this on the show before. It's like, because they do the exact thing the fucking conservatives here and in the States and in other parts of the world hate. They pay an ass load of taxes on fucking everything. Income tax, property, fucking this, that, the other thing. They pay an ass load of taxes. They don't get to keep all their money and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But why are they the happiest country on earth, Patrick?
You're telling me?
Because the daycare is free. Because the education is free. Because the health care is free. Because you've got paid mat leave for men and women. If the woman wants to keep fucking working after she pumps the kid out, let the husband stay home. They have all these fucking things in place where it's like, oh, I don't have to fucking worry about anything. I don't have to worry about my appendix fucking about to pop because I'm going to go to the hospital and it'll be fine and I'll be able to stay for like 2 weeks if I have to and be in recovery, and it's not going to fucking cost me a dime. Or, oh, my kid can go do whatever they want in college and come out of it completely fine because they're not going to be buried under like decades worth of fucking student loan debt. So it's like, I apologize. I feel like I've been rambling on and going all over the place here. I get passionate about this shit. It's just frustrating to me, and to my point of just like, come on, America. We need you to pull. We're bottom of the ninth. We're down like 3 innings. We really need like a grand slam here, because it's like, sure, put Trump in again, and he's just going to back out of like more environmental things. And then he talks about like, yeah, let's just back out of NATO if like these other countries don't pay what they're supposed to and all this shit. And it's like, don't get me wrong, NATO countries, what are you fucking doing? Pay your bills. We're all in this together. Yada, yada, yada. But it's like, but you know what the solution to fucking Belgium or whoever the fuck, I don't know if Belgium, I don't mean to pick on you. Maybe you do pay your bills. But like, the solution isn't like, yeah, let's back out of NATO and give an asshole like Putin more incentive to be like, well, if we don't have to worry about the U.S., we can just get away with whatever we want. Hello, Poland. Hello, Hungary. Hello, other country in that region of Eastern Europe. Hello, Austria. Like, that's not the solution to things. And this is a problem I have with conservative politics generally, of like, yeah, let's just get rid of this shit and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all right, if that's what you want to do, good luck. So, have fun, U.S. Put Donnie T in again if you want. Hello, Canada. Yes, get rid of Trudeau, who everybody seems to claim to hate so much. I defy you to ask one of these fucking assholes who drives around with the fucking fuck Trudeau flags or bumper stickers on their car. I defy you to get an answer out of one of these pricks about like the categories and the reasons and like, the evidence and all the shit they want Trudeau gone for and why they have like serious grievances with him and all the shit. I defy you to get an actual answer out of some of these people about shit, or how much of it is just fucking nonsense lip service garbage that isn't fucking based in anything, where it's like, if you have actual grievances, sure. But it's like Ted with his fucking pickup truck and his fuck Trudeau flags. Something tells me that guy doesn't necessarily have the most well-informed fucking thoughts on the matter, I'm so sorry. I feel like I've just been going on and on and on and on. Does anybody have anything else to add before I wrap this up? Because this topic's been going.
I'm just going to add something small. My mom was in Florida, and she ate at a restaurant at Disney World. She got food poisoning. She went to the hospital for only, like, I think 2 nights, maybe even 1 night. She gets out, and her bill is $28,000 American.
28?
$28,000 American. They charge her for everything. They charge her a shit ton for the ambulance, a shit ton for bringing her into the hospital, a shit ton for taking a bed, a shit ton for this medicine, that medicine, this, a shit ton for the nurse coming in every hour. It's so, they charge you for
she had to pay it on the spot?
Luckily, she was covered by insurance by the bank because she works by the bank. But anybody else,
she was like her, like where she works.
Yeah. Anybody else, fucked. You'd be fucked.
Jesus.
What would I do? I'd be in debt forever.
You'd pick up a mop and start
Pick
This
up
is
a
what's-
mop and make up 28,000
what's-
Americans.
You know the Mr. Clean gif?
But it's so frustrating because like people make the point, and it's true. It's like you have like the richest, most well-to-do country on the fucking planet that refuses, not can't, refuses to just take care of its own fucking people. And Canada, in some respects, is no better. We have the healthcare thing, sure, but every time I'm in Toronto and it's like you see some poor homeless person sitting on the corner, and it's like nothing we can do about this, huh, guys?
Dude, my fucking my assistant manager that I work with, she said that her husband like had like severe stomach pain and couldn't go to work for like a week, and he was like bedridden and all this shit. And he went to the hospital, and they were there for like 9 hours. She said that the hospital was empty.
Yeah.
She went to the local hospital here. She said there was not another soul, maybe one or two other people there, and she was there for like 9 hours. And all they needed was for him to get checked out and see what the fuck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told him like, yeah, you're gonna need like a colonoscopy, and they're like, yeah, we'll do. It'll be for like in a month and a half. And he's like in excruciating pain. He can't go to work. And like they kept pushing until they finally booked it, and he did it like sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I saw.
But like the fact that that's even a thing is insane too. So it's like there's obviously like Matty's saying, like there's the Canadian system isn't perfect, but like it makes more sense to just try to work on making it more efficient as opposed to like throwing everything out.
Yeah, did this whole fucking thing where it's like Doug Ford and these fucking other conservative pricks where it's like, yeah, let's just like start privatizing healthcare and this, that, the other thing, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, that's not the fucking, like, the people that want to privatize the healthcare are the ones that can either A, afford it, or B, are the ones that, you know, might so happen to like profit from it a little. It's like, you don't think all these fucking medical companies and pharmaceutical companies who are already fucking beyond evil as shit with the fucking opioids and all this shit that they fucking give to people when they know how fucking addicting and harmful it is. It's like all those fucking CEOs and pricks are sitting around licking their fucking lips, just being like, yeah, I hope the fucking wait times in, you know, a Canadian hospital turns into 24 hours to get a fucking, you know, concussion looked at. Like they prey on that shit because then it lets them make the arguments of like, wouldn't you rather a healthcare system where, you know, you can just get in right away and blah, 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 blah. It's like, yes, get in right away. And on the way out, Malcolm's mom, here's your $28,000 bill for food poisoning. Not fucking cancer. Not a traumatic...
Not chemotherapy.
Not brain surgery. For food poisoning. Here's your $28,000 bill. And it's like, that's the way people want to go about these things. God bless. Don't do it around me. You know?
Something that made me upset, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. In Toronto, there was one guy that was building homeless shelters on his own. He was buying materials at like Home Depot. He was going to the streets, literally building like almost like mini sheds with like insulation and everything and like a little area for them to sleep. And it was doing well. Like a lot of homeless people had a place to stay. City of Toronto took it all down. Didn't like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's Carlin has a great line. George Carlin has a line where he talks about homelessness, and he has just like a great line where he's like, you know, the problem with homelessness and why nothing's ever going to be done about it, at least for now, is because there's no money in it. He's like, if you found a way for there to be a solution to homelessness where like politicians or some company or both or whatever could like, you know, scrape a couple million off the top of it, he's like, those people would be off the fucking streets tomorrow. He's like, but because there is no way that it benefits all these things, it's like there's no incentive to do it, so we just let it keep happening.
I also think the perspective on it is like these government officials who want to make money off of it are also probably thinking like, even if we waste our money getting these people off the streets, these low lives aren't going to contribute anyway, type thing. That's what I think. That's the perspective on that. I think that's why it's like, for them, it's like a lose-lose, because it's like we're wasting money and they're probably not going to. It's not going to come back and help us, type thing. Which is a very like obviously selfish way to think about it. But I think that's a part of it as well.
I think when it comes to homelessness, not only do they need to be housed, but I think some sort of rehabilitation needs to be like initiated. There was an interview I saw, some guy who went to downtown Toronto. He interviewed this like 21-year-old homeless girl, and he's like, "Why are you homeless?" And she goes, "Oh, well, you know, I got really caught up in drugs and things weren't going good in my life." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Do you still do them?" She's like, "Yeah, like I could never stop." He goes, well, what do you think the solution would be for you to like kind of progress in life and get somewhere? And she goes, it would definitely be to stop taking drugs. And he goes, would you be willing to take this rehabilitation program? I would pay for you to do it. All you have to do is stop taking the drugs. And she said there's no way on earth she would stop doing it. She'd rather be homeless.
Well, there you go.
There you go. No, but it's like, that's the thing. It's like with the homelessness thing, for example, it's like they need help. And I know that sounds like very obvious, but it's like, yes, the solution to the homelessness thing is these people need help. Maybe it would be beneficial if we had social services and a system and network and institutions in place that looked after these people, you know, like they do in some other parts in the world. But again, then you get the right side of things, which is like, oh, but then it's like, you know, so people just aren't going to work and the government's going to pay for anything. And it's like when they talk about being opposed to like, you know, universal basic income and all this stuff, it's like, you know, oh, you know, we can't do universal basic income because what, the government's just going to give everybody free money and yada, 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 blah, 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 and all this shit. And it's like, I just don't understand people who are opposed to the ideas and practices that are meant to benefit everyone. It's the same frustration I have when we mentioned like a lot of comedians and shit going to Texas and all this stuff, because it's like, I don't want to pay taxes and I want more of my money and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I get that. And I understand that this is just a fundamental difference in like political and life, you know, outlook and whatever. But I'm like, shouldn't the idea be not fucking communism, because that's equally fucking stupid and doesn't work, and the people that think you can make it work and whatever, read and then get back to me on that. But it's like, shouldn't the idea be that a high tide raises all boats, and that when you give everyone an education, when you keep everybody healthy, when you keep everybody off the streets, everybody fucking benefits from that? Why is that such a like difficult concept?
I think because it's
understand.
I think 'cause it's not like, I think for a lot of, I mean, I think it's probably difficult for some people because it's not like instant, I guess, you know, like you have to like invest in it, and you have to like but a lot of people are like very like short-sighted, like, yeah, if we do this and we just blew X amount of money and that's it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's like, that's the thing where it's like these things take
It's short-sighted
work.
Yeah.
Like you have to work at them and really like, you can't also just do it in 5 years and then leave it forever. You have to like stick with it and keep at it.
Yeah.
We've been going long on this. I apologize. I've done a lot of ranting and raving. I'm sorry to the audience who probably is bored as shit by all this. Two things I would like to say to end with. The other thing, when I think of the state of the world, the environment, whoo, we really fucked that one up. We lost that one. It'll be nice to see if we still have a civilization and species in the next 50 to 100 years. I was telling Patrick the other day, because him and I were, we were sort of jokingly arguing about like paper straws and all that. And I was telling Patrick, I was like, you know, it's frustrating that governments and corporations have convinced citizens that environmental change is on them. Because, and I was illustrating to Patrick that in the 90s, when like, you know, Earth Day and recycling and blue bins and reduce, reuse, recycle and all this became like pretty prominent and like, you know, started to become a thing. I was telling Patrick, I was like, hey, guess who invented all that? The oil companies. Because they all fucking, as I said to you at work the other day, they might be evil fucks, but they're smart evil fucks. And they realized that if they could create all these initiatives about going green and reduce your carbon footprint and all this shit, you could just convince the public that, yeah, global warming and the environment is on you, ordinary citizen, not us, the innocent oil company that wipes out an entire rainforest to frack for oil. We couldn't possibly be guilty of environmental change. It's on you because you put your plastic water bottle in the trash instead of the recycling, or because you used a plastic straw instead of a paper straw, you evil fuck. So the environment's a whole other lost cause. We're probably doomed.
By the way, what did I hear somewhere that like someone, I swear, I don't know where this came from. Someone said something about like, even if you like recycle and separate your trash properly, like it all ends up a lot of the times it just ends up in the landfill.
I literally say that all the time.
I'm
I'm
sure.
like, I feel like it doesn't matter where I put the shit. It's all gonna get put into a square and thrown into some like random warehouse.
I'm sure to some extent that's true, but I will end this
Warehouse? That'd be
Warehouse,
nice if it went
like
into a
indoor
warehouse.
warehouse, scrapyard, whatever. There's
Garbage island.
my compost, garbage, and recyclables all in the same square over there.
I will end this long-winded, boring as shit, I apologize, topic with this. Because I feel like I've been very negative. I am innately pessimistic. And there's really not all that much I can do to help it. I just assume the worst. It's one of those expect the worst, can't be disappointed type of deals. However, nice timing for Malcolm's fart on that. However, I cannot shake, to some extent, and maybe we'll leave this with a positive, a certain amount of hope for the world and for people. Even though I think things are incredibly shitty in so many places and in so many ways, and there's an incalculable amount of just wrong and evil and injustice and all the shit in the world, I find that I cannot shake a certain amount of optimism. I've always phrased it as like I am a hardcore pessimist with a teeny tiny little optimist hiding inside who likes to just kind of poke his head out the window from time to time and just make sure things haven't gotten too dire. And I think, I don't know about you three, but I think that's what kind of keeps me going, because eventually we'll get to this topic one day. But I am, being an atheist, don't really do the whole afterlife thing. So maybe there's part of it to that too, where it's like, well, if this is all I've got, I better make it count, or I better make it, I better not just be like sitting in a corner fucking crying about how awful everything is. Like, I better have some hope to life. So maybe some of it comes from that, but I take some amount of solace in that. Maybe it's naive, maybe it's dumb, maybe it is all doomed, but I find myself being unable to shake that sense of hope and sense of no matter how shitty things are, no matter how shitty things get and how much wrong there is, am I going to be able to solve all the world's problems? Unfortunately, no. Wish I could. But I will try to do what I can in however small a way in my own personal day-to-day life to at least try to do better with things. So yes, I recycle and compost. Is it actually doing anything? Is it a drop in the bucket? Couldn't tell you. Can I solve the Israel-Palestine thing? No. But Varsh does the eSIMs and donations thing, and not even her thing. But it's I've given some money to the things she's set up. I've donated some money to the other things. And I'm not trying to be fucking look at me, I'm such a nice person. I'm just purely saying, though there is lots to be doom and gloom about, I try to keep a certain amount of optimism, which I believe Mark mentioned earlier in this topic, a certain amount of optimism in myself and in how I look out in the world, even though it's predominantly dominated by a sense of pessimism. I'm trying. And I feel like, the world would be a slightly better place if people continued trying, and if those who were not trying and had, abandoned hope, could maybe get a little bit of that back. So is there anything else anybody else wants to toss out before we fucking get out of this?
No, nothing comes to mind for me.
Mink.
There you go. Well, anyways, we'll get to the last topic now. Fuck, this was long and slow and boring.
Isn't there
and
still 2 topics?
This is true. And probably too much of me talking. We'll see how much of this I cut out. Thank you. Moving on.
Patrick's topic.
I'm so happy. I love K-pop.
Patrick, I see you've pulled up our TikTok. What's this all about?
Our TikTok. So, there's been
What? Has that many views?
these aren't our videos.
Mark,
these are videos.
that was
That's one of our videos.
I was like, damn, Patrick played baseball.
Damn, 1.1 mil.
400K.
We only have 60 viewers.
So there's a streamer named Jinxie,
Yes.
and an audio of his went viral on TikTok of just him saying, I mean, I guess we could play one of ours. I'll show ours first.
Please don't.
I will.
When did you realize you were like, shit, I got motion, twin? Since birth.
Wow.
So that's pretty much
Birth.
It's a handsome-looking man and a handsome-looking baby, if I do say so myself.
That's
Son, baby.
that's pretty much what it's been. And so I sort of went on a bit of a journey looking at how other people sort of posted this trend and like what they did. And I just wanted to show you guys. So we can literally talk about whatever, but I just wanted to show you guys
When did you realize
some
you
of
were like,
the things I
shit,
saw.
I got motion, twin?
So we got Zendaya in the mix over here. I just want to say, this last one, I don't know about all these other ones, how you guys are going to think, like what you guys are going to think about them, but this last one is objectively, it's going to blow your mind. Okay, so let's just go one by one here.
When did you realize
And there are these garbage ones. This isn't the only one. Multiple people not showing their face or some like weird looking guy, and it's like them as a kid with like 5-6 girls, bro. Like, what is this person trying to communicate right now? I'm not. And what is this first picture? What is this? Someone tell me, Mark. Tell me what this is.
I don't know. His face is pixelated. I don't know why.
Face is pixelated. He's doing something with his like. You know what I'm saying?
Showing off that watch, baby.
Trying to show off a jawline with like a pixelated sort of.
I'm
Pixelated
sorry.
sort
Could
of-
you just clarify for me again? What's your topic?
We're just hanging out. The topics. We're just hanging out.
We're just hanging out while we watch TikTok.
While we
Okay.
watch TikTok.
When did you realize you were like, shit, I got motion?
I mean, okay, that's a good one.
that was pretty good. The audio is gonna get.
I was gonna say
annoying
this
real
audio
quick.
is already
Already.
old to me.
Shit, I got motion.
Oh my god.
Jesus. Oh my god.
Those are park bops.
Park ball.
Oh my god. The look on that
That
kid's
was- that
face
was
as a
good. That
baby
was
is
kinda
great.
When did you
My
realize
goodness.
you were like, shit, I got motion, twin?
This one was just a little deadlift. I thought Malcolm would have some thoughts about
When did you
that.
realize you were like, shit, I got motion, twin?
Pretty cute. So yeah, most of them are these pretty cute things. I'm just gonna.
Can you go to the 8? What's the 8.2 million?
Sure.
When did you realize you were like, shit, I got motion, twin?
Just like
It's kind of lame.
cute pics, but this is sort of why I wanted to sort of get through and show you guys some of the things that people have posted.
Mm.
This next one's gonna blow your mind
Okay.
because it blew my mind. I don't think you guys are even ready to. Okay, we'll just
When
get
did you
into it.
realize you were like, shit, I got motion, twin?
Oh
Now-
no.
Now hold on. I want to pause. I want to pause it right here.
Oh
Can we
no.
pause? Okay,
I don't
okay.
know.
And I just want to close this audio.
There's a mute button. You
I
can
don't
hit
Can't
that.
do it.
I'm trying to mute
On TikTok.
on TikTok.
Oh, thank God.
So I stumbled upon this picture.
Mhm.
Now can
It's got to be edited.
Can someone? You
I
think
hope
it's edited?
I hope it's
It's got to
not.
be edited.
Can someone please describe what they're looking at for
This
me?
isn't straight up 9/11.
A child stands in New York for a candid family photo as one of the Twin Towers sits in smoke behind him.
They both are.
I feel like it's edited because everybody behind him is walking leisurely. Like there hasn't just been an explosion and panic. Like
Yeah.
everyone's walking. No one's looking at it.
Yeah.
No one's looking at it.
Yeah. Pardon me.
Absolutely edited.
I don't know that's true
But
because it
think
all
of the
happened
logic of
so
no one-
fast.
No,
of
but,
like
but I'm
the
saying it's,
first.
it's smoking right now.
Yeah. Well, the question.
So the explosion, the impact happened at least
Yeah.
10 seconds, 15 seconds. You don't think that loud boom crash and everyone's just walking away from it, like not looking at it?
Well, I'm not entirely sure.
I'm just
not
saying
entirely
that.
sure.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
there's no way. There's no way that everybody's looking away
Well,
from it.
the question
walking.
becomes like, what is the timing? That's what it comes down to. It's
But
like
even if it
okay,
happened a minute ago,
it
you
hit
can-
it.
Yeah.
There's a loud noise.
Sure.
Not everyone's gonna turn around. It's like we don't know exactly what this like.
New York's a
noises-
loud place.
Loud noises
That guy
happen.
has a hand in his pocket. People are just walking away.
That's what I'm saying. Though loud noises happen all the time. It's like
It looks like it literally just hit.
This is a visual.
attacks-
it's not just
the-
an audio cue. It's a
Well, I understand
smoking
that,
building.
but people are looking away. Some people are. You know what I'm saying? Like it all happens so fast.
not really. I think
like,
it's. I think it's clearly edited.
I mean,
You know what's wild? And I don't mean this in like a conspiratorial way at
Sure.
all, but just like how much footage of 9/11 there is.
Have you been seeing a lot recently too?
Like
On
a
like
video of it.
Instagram and shit.
So
yes.
many new angles.
But
I
that's
don't
what I'm
know how.
saying. The amount of like clips.
new
that
angles.
New. new angles I've never seen before. Like people in a building right next to it, someone right underneath.
Yeah, the amount of footage that exists is like, it's wild, especially because it's like, okay, 2001. It's not like people are walking around with smartphones. Like, if the fucking that boat that just destroyed that bridge in Baltimore. I don't know if you saw that shit.
Yeah.
Insane. But it's like that. I'm like, okay, well, I expect to see like a million clips and whatever of that because it's like everybody's walking around with their camera in their pocket. But it's like 2001, and then it's like all this footage just exists of like people that were either just filming the tower directly or like, you know, some like guy's hugging his girlfriend on like a video because they're on vacation in New York and the tower's in the background and they just happen to film at the exact moment you see this tiny little fucking plane. Like, it's like, oh, that's getting a little too close. And then, oh my God, like there's so much footage. It's unreal.
I wonder how much of it is like people trying to do like some like VFX type shit, you know? I wonder.
Like if it's fake?
No. I'm saying of people like releasing a video being like, oh, look at this. And it's like someone tried to edit it something type thing.
I don't know, but it's just the...
Because like you're saying, what are the odds that so many people are going to have these videos when smartphones weren't common? And
I think most of it's all like real footage. It's just astounding to me that like at that moment in time, there just happened to be so many people that caught it, you know?
Well, 9/11 is such an old event at this point, but it's
So
just
this is your topic, 9/11?
I mean, I didn't. It can go wherever you guys want it to go, but just we're on the topic right now. And I will put this picture down in just a moment, just because.
Good.
Not the best
what
backdrop.
about right now?
Not the best. Yeah, we'll put it down right now. But yeah, it's even though it happened so long ago, and I wasn't even like conscious or like aware while it was happening. I was a baby, but to this day, watching seeing the footage gives me chills. It gives me chills like almost nothing else does, because
Well,
it's just,
I was just go on.
it's just so horrifying, and it's still something that I have a hard time processing.
I feel like it also
It's
a part of
harrowing
that
shit.
that goes into that is like how it's like a huge ass busy city and
Yeah.
seeing something that happened that in the midst of all like just regular life is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it feels like it almost
Surreal.
feels like a fucking video game
Yeah.
watching it, where it's like, yeah, the fucking Modern Warfare 3 campaign, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, fucking real life, and it strikes a particular chord because Canada. I mean, I guess almost entirely. Not that I'm sure there's something I'm missing, and the U.S. to an extent too, like, has never really had an attack on it like that. Not in any like, I'm not talking about like the fucking, you know, American Revolution or like any of that dumb shit, but it's like before 9/11 it was like Pearl Harbor, and that was basically it. And then it's like, you know, there's like some footage of it, but it's all this like grainy black and white shit. Like it's hard to, you know,
Visualize.
of course you have Michael Bay's whatever 2000s movie Pearl Harbor, so you could visualize it with that if you were so inclined. I wouldn't, but it's hard to like rationalize or like think about that, whereas like 9/11 is much more like
visual.
yeah, no, there's like footage of that, and it's like, you know, there it is. It's like, oh fuck, this is some harrowing shit.
Yeah. How do you feel sitting over there, by the way? Because like, this is in my line of eyesight. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
A little differently, so it's not right in your face.
I'm deep in the corner of this couch. Is that going to be a problem for anything?
Nah. If anything, me being deep in the corner will be a problem, but that's okay. Only for the wide.
in the corner.
Only for the wide.
I'm just thinking for like I might cut off it all.
Nah, you're fine. The hell was I saying? Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's crazy shit. I still, there's so much with 9/11. It's just, and they hit the Pentagon,
And they hit the pen.
and then the other one crashed. Now the tinfoil hat goes on. Crashed in the field in Pennsylvania or whatever. It's crazy shit.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. Just for the record, boys. So I did a video for all of us. I think
With this trend.
with this trend, I already showed you guys. Matthews, this was yours, Mark.
Yeah. Let's go.
With the little, I liked Mark's the best because he had
Since birth.
the little sunglasses. Malcolm's, I think I liked Malcolm's the least, to be honest with you. I wish you had a sunglasses pick because it would have paired so nicely with.
Are there any comments on any of ours?
There's
Okay, good.
there's no comments.
I was
on
waiting for somebody to be like douche.
Let's go,
That
Patrick.
picture of Patrick is so hilarious.
Patrick, why'd you post
Awesome.
that?
All our buddies from work have been like using that picture in like our chat and been like, you
Which
know,
picture?
that
picture
one
with
of
you
you
the tie?
as a kid.
They have?
Yeah, all the guys from work have been sending that picture and being like, "Oh, our little accountant," or like, I think
he looks like the manager of Los Pollos Hermanos.
Corey
Gustavo,
said.
Gustavo
Oh,
Fring.
damn.
Corey
The
said
shirt
today.
is-
Corey said today he's like that guy for sure has like 3 fucking like bachelor's degree hanging in like his house or whatever, or like fucking
Little
masters. Yeah, or like master's degrees hanging in his house or whatever.
I mean, I cleaned up nice. What can I say?
You know what can you say?
Yeah. Anyways,
But so
get out of
yeah,
here.
TikTok trends 9/11. Do you see the actual clip from that Baltimore boat thing though,
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
the clip.
where like the bridge comes down?
It's so fucked.
Yeah.
That shit's fucking.
It's so fucked up.
I got
saw a
home
thing-
from work yesterday, and Michael was like, "Yeah, did you see the bridge thing?" I was like, "What? No." And then I'm thinking like in my head, I'm like, it's like some like overpass and like something, whatever. And then I'm watching Philip DeFranco, and it's like this like
like
major
2 kilometers
bridge
long, apparently.
in like Baltimore, and you just see the boat like because the footage sped up where like the boat hits the support structure. Because I also thought it was like, did the boat go under
I've
it
never- I've
and then
never-
sort
I've
of
never
like
seen this.
Look it up.
clip
Look
it?
up.
Patrick, YouTube the Baltimore.
Baltimore boat bridge.
Persona 4 Golden, really that good?
Yeah, I was debating maybe getting things.
Live. Oh, it's live
No.
right now.
Okay, well we don't need live. We just need the
My goodness.
boat hitting the
we
fucking
go.
thing.
Should I? This one's from Fox. Are you gonna?
Yes, okay. I'll live.
Is he gonna show it hitting?
I'll live with giving Fox that view. Random question is because they found a couple bodies today, which is, I mean, to be expected.
Well,
but
what I was gonna say was initially when it happened.
you mind just muting it while we're doing it and just let it run and see if it actually shows the clip.
Yeah, initially when it happened, the thing that horrified me was, like, I think it was maybe a day or two after this happened. They were like, "Yeah, we only pulled 2 bodies out. We only saved 2 people," and it's like this massive stretch of fucking bridge, and they only got
Were there
out.
cars on
they
it?
only
I saw
found
that
2
they were
people.
cars on
stopping
it?
cars from
There-
going. They
yeah.
were stopping cars from going on the bridge.
Oh, it's like a drivable bridge.
They
Those
were,
cars
but
driving
I
it.
know at the time there were cars that were on the bridge, and then apparently like they had like maintenance crews that were just there, like doing fucking potholes or whatever. Like
Yeah.
there were maintenance crews and shit.
Can you find the actual footage of it?
Let's see if
This is
they-
just like a review story. I don't
Yeah,
think it's
this is
actually
a
gonna show.
review.
But I
Oh,
thought,
there
I
we go,
also
there we go, there we
thought
go.
in my head it was like
Back.
I think that's like a
Is that a
animation?
rendering?
No, that's just like.
this
going
is still
around.
like the helicopter thing or
Yeah,
whatever.
this is still a helicopter thing. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna show it.
Can you find the actual footage?
Uh,
Aftermath, no. Raw footage, 3.7 million views.
It's raw, baby.
you normally skip ahead a little
Oh, see those cars going across.
because this is it sped up.
It hits the middle beam.
Yeah, like it just totally veers off like its path or whatever and hits the main. And I thought in my head it was like, oh, it like skimmed, like it was like when a truck goes under a
That car
highway.
just made it. That car just made it out.
When it's like a truck goes under a highway that's too short or whatever. But it's like, no, this thing hit a fucking
Oh.
support
Oh.
beam.
They made it. They made it.
But it's like this is fucking. I know it's sped up, but like still,
Oh
when
my
it fucking
God.
when it goes, it's just like
Any other cars? Any other cars?
Jesus.
Oh, all at once.
Christ.
man.
It's a bad angle. I want to see how big it is.
Here it is,
Oh,
here
here we
it is,
go.
here we
Oh my
go.
god. Oh my god.
Huge.
And that's
that
one of
whole
those
thing?
massive fucking like freight ships or whatever. So it's like this is a
Bro,
big
look at
ass
the car over
fucking
there.
bridge.
Boink, there it goes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And they were saying too, like aside from just the death toll or whatever fucking injuries and shit come out of it too, where they're like, you know how much money it's going to cost to like pull that fucking shit out of there and then build a whole new like mega bridge like that and just start from scratch again. It's like that's going to be years and years and years and years and
How does
probably
a boat go
billions of
veer off
dollars.
that much?
Yeah, what happened? What's the story with how that
Something
happened?
about like it maybe lost power or some shit or like veered or whatever. Because at first that was another thing that these fucking conspiracy people were saying too was like,
An attack.
was this like a fucking attack of some kind or whatever or something like this? And they were like, no, but whatever that boat company is or whoever's responsible for that boat is going to be fucking litigated into oblivion. Because when I was watching Philip DeFranco yesterday, he was talking about it. He was saying that same, not the same company, that same boat was involved in like some other crash in like Europe, or South America or some other thing where it like crashed into a
a bad
fucking
egg.
dock. Like it was not as serious a like incident, but it like crashed into a fucking like harbor or like a dock or like, you know, some other thing like in some other part of the world, and it's like,
What a klutz.
Yo, the crew
Man.
must be partying. The crew must be partying.
Speaking
on
of
it.
other
Like,
conspiracy-
how else are they gonna veer up? Yeah.
just other conspiracy shit and fun stuff, because now we're down this rabbit hole just really quick. Did you hear about the Boeing whistleblower and all this
I
shit?
saw memes about it, but I didn't hear much about it.
Just,
Saw the chimpanzee.
I
one.
feel like since Epstein,
That's the one, yeah.
I'm not one of these people that thinks there's like, you know, some like Illuminati or like some fucking cabal of like, you know, people that sit around a fucking orb, like, you know, running the world. I think within like certain countries and governments and like corporations and shit like that, there's probably like deeper shit like that, but not like some like, you know, this fucking world order or any of that shit. However, whatever powers that be that exist out there, ever since Epstein, I feel like have gotten really just blatant with shit where it's like, oops, this guy who had all this incriminating evidence on all these important people killed himself when there were no guards and the cameras happened to be off. And it's like, that sounds like a convincing bill of sale. But with Boeing, which John Oliver's show just recently had a story about Boeing and talking about like, you know, when they had like a plane crash a few years ago that killed everyone, or like recently when like one of the doors on the plane just fucking blew off. And, like,
wasn't that like Alaskan Airlines or something like that?
it was one of the airlines, but like it's Boeing's planes. And like, you know, John Oliver talked about it in this piece. And there's been people basically coming out and talking about how like for years now, Boeing's been basically like cutting all these corners and like, you know, outsourcing work to like these other shittier, like sloppier companies or like overseas companies and all this shit. And how it's like caused, you know, plane crashes and fucking the door flying off and like all this crazy shit. And I don't know all the details, so I don't want to like speak too authoritatively on it, but there was some whistleblower guy that came out and like said all this like incriminating shit about Boeing, and then was literally doing the thing of like, which normally, you know, protects people, of like, I'm not suicidal. If anything happens to me, it's because I was taken out, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah.
Oh God.
That guy committed suicide. I was like,
Jesus
holy shit. I was like, in front of everybody,
God.
broad daylight. Even Epstein didn't have that. There was no like Epstein talking into a camera.
Wait, there's footage of him committing suicide.
No, it's footage of him
No,
telling
I'm
everybody
saying
that it's not suicide.
there's like
Oh.
it's not like your mom's phone is ringing. It's not like
Your mom.
is it Kevin? Oh wow. Do you want to take that?
Hi, Botham. Hi, Kevin.
I don't know if I want to leave that in or cut it out. We'll see what happens as I'm editing. What was I saying? Yeah, it's like even Epstein didn't have.
I will not do.
I
this.
won't. I
will
won't
not
commit
kill
suicide.
myself.
I am not suicidal, even a
Even
little bit.
Epstein
Everybody.
didn't have like him looking down the barrel of a camera in like some fucking room with like no windows or whatever, so you don't know where he is. Even he didn't have that of like, I'm not suicidal. If they take me out, it's for my own good. But it's like this guy had that, and they still took him out. Like, are you
The balls on
are
these
you
guys, dude.
fucking kidding me?
The balls on these guys to be like,
ins-
he literally explicitly said it's not suicide, and we're gonna frame it as exactly that.
I was like,
not as an accident or like he can't.
I
feel
was like,
himself.
the sheer, like, they just don't care anymore, apparently.
That's
Like, and the
wild.
funniest meme was, like, somebody being like, you know, POV, you're the Boeing whistleblower. And it's when Joe Pesci walks into the
Yeah.
fucking house. at the end of Goodfellas, when he, like, thinks he's going to be a made man,
Yeah.
and he walks into the open room and just like, oh, no. And they fucking plug him. It's just like, POV, you're the Boeing whistleblower. And it's just Joe Pesci walking into the house. It cuts to the other, like, just the empty room, and then just, oh no.
So you're telling me he was in like an undisclosed location?
No, I'm like making it funnier than it probably is. I don't know if it was like a news thing he did or like just a video he put out or if it was like some written statement. All I'm saying is there was some sort of, whether it was written or video, there was some sort of like testimony that this guy put out there saying like, I am in perfectly good mental state. Like, I don't know too many details, but I assume something to the extent of like, you know, my family, like I've got a family, blah, blah, all this shit, whatever. Like, you know, I'm not suicidal at all. If anything happens to me, like,
He's got a fan.
I didn't fucking do it. And then they did it. Like, are you fucking...
so crazy.
Jesus
I
Christ.
thought that was my watch going off for a
Before we
second.
wrap up, one
PTSD.
last bit of world news. I was talking about this with Mark the other day.
You were?
What's going on with P. Diddy?
Oh
Oof.
wow.
What? How is
He's
the story there?
Apparently,
Dunzo.
sex
I just-
trafficking,
I just
and he
saw-
took off
yeah.
to a Caribbean island that has no affiliation with the U.S. whatsoever, and so like even if they wanted to get him there, apparently they can't.
Did he leave? I thought they had
Yeah.
him.
I don't know.
I saw the
Because
last
there
thing
was
I saw
there was like
last-
some
last thing I saw
TMZ
is he
footage
left.
going around where it was him just like pacing outside of like some place in Miami because
Yeah.
people thought he had like fled the country, but then the clip came out of him just like
Pacing?
in Miami while they were like raiding one of his houses or stuff. So I thought they maybe had
You
him.
mentioned that Jay-Z is somewhat.
I heard that they were
Involved
trying to
in
like
this.
implicate Jay-Z in this whole ring,
Jay-Z,
and then
you
I
imagine?
heard that he was on a
Beyonce's
plane.
involved.
That he
Yeah.
was on a plane like fleeing.
Yeah.
But I know they have his sons, and cause like there was all these pictures coming out of, like them in handcuffs.
Patrick,
Yeah.
can you look up current whereabouts of P Diddy?
Where is P Diddy? Imagine it pull up a map and just a ping of like his location
Diddy.
right now. I'm not one of these people like Alex Jones or one of these fucking losers who thinks that like, you know, Hollywood or like the entertainment world or all these things are like, you know, they're trying to like make everybody believe in Satan and they like all touch kids and all this shit. I'm not one of these fucking crazy people like that. But I will just say, as a sort of blanket statement, it's a little unreal how many people in like music and movies and the entertainment world are like
Oops.
just straight up evil. It's a little unreal
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
how many of these fucking people are like
On the,
just like
on the flight logs.
on the flight logs and all this crazy shit. I always think if there's an episode of It's Always Sunny that P. Diddy's like a guest in, where like I forget what it is, but Max got like some rash on his arm or something, and they go to P. Diddy. I think Charlie takes him there because they think he's some like street doctor or whatever, and it's like such a funny little like guest appearance. And I was just thinking about it, where it's like, man, where did it all go wrong?
So he's not in Antigua, apparently, according to the Prime Minister of Antigua.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Patrick, can you go to?
Yeah.
This is completely random. Can you go to the? Is your iMessage on there?
Yes.
Can you just open? I sent him a video. It's the one.
That might not pop up.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, because
Never
you
mind.
and
Oh,
me
yeah,
are.
text
I
message.
texted it to you directly.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
that's
you and
text
me are the green messages, so I don't get
Okay.
those on the
I'll show it to you guys after.
laptop.
All right. Well.
Anyways.
Yeah.
That's it.
So just so I'm aware, things we grew out of, the state of the world.
And
Just
TikTok.
talking.
TikTok talking.
I do
TikTok-
think to
TikTok
Mark's
talking, sure.
earlier point, at some point, I think we'll do maybe in the near future a topicless, just a kind of one-off episode of like just a shooting the shit episode, and just chum it up, see what happens. But anyways, well there you go, folks. This has been another fucking all over the place
Banger.
Gotta mention something.
banger.
Actually,
Before I close of the show, Malcolm has something he wants to say.
Doja Cat.
Oh boy.
I don't know what episode this is. Like
This has got to be what,
is
4?
This is for
This is 4.
occurrence number 4. Okay, listen.
I mean, like, could that be it? I don't want any.
That's all it is. Just tapping the couch.
Okay, we can end it on that, but I just do want to say, if you will commit to this every episode, you need to like escalate things. Like you need to
Like to escalate
entice
things?
her more.
How do I entice Doja Cat?
You need to entice her. That's
How?
up to you. That is up to you.
We have
When,
no
Patrick,
social
are you
media
going to
presence.
tag her?
Bro, dress
Instagram?
up as her. Do something.
dress up as Doja Cat.
Yeah.
Patrick, when are you going to tag her Instagram?
She doesn't have Instagram, but I've tagged
Oh.
her TikTok.
Okay, good.
All right.
She apparently deleted Instagram. I don't know. If
Yeah,
that's
she.
allowed.
Yeah.
Oh, you know about it?
I saw comments about it being like, "Oh, why did you deactivate her account?"
Yeah, I don't know.
Would probably be better for everybody if they got rid of their Instagram. I digress. Anyways,
I've been thinking about that. So what if I just deleted all my social media? But then I'm like, I can't share memes and stuff.
I got rid of my Instagram in high school for like,
Mm.
I felt like a year or so, and then you fuckers were the ones that were like, get Instagram back. We want to send you memes and shit. And it's like, all right,
Was
I
it me?
guess.
I don't send memes. I don't really send
You
memes.
don't
send
shit.
really-
Why do you
I mean,
have
I do
Instagram?
send
Dude,
memes,
honestly,
but, like,
if
not
we
that
could,
much.
if we as a friend group can make a pact to not like, if we can all delete it at the same time, I feel like that would be good. Because then I feel like if I delete it and you guys still have it, and I'm like, I'm missing out on the memes and communications and stuff. But if we're like everyone's deleting our social medias and we're just like texting,
I need to look at something though. I need to look at memes.
I need to
yeah.
look
But
at
imagine
something,
how much better your life would be if you had all that. There's hours of scrolling just as like free time.
I had 48 hours of phone time last week.
2 days.
Wait.
When we're
What
done
was
this,
your
2 days
average-
straight.
What was your average screen time?
I don't know.
Okay, just to end the episode, everyone pull up your screen time.
When we're done,
Everybody pull up
pull
your
up
screen
your
time.
phone.
Right now.
That's your mom's phone. Don't
Oh, you
pull that
can't
up.
check.
Yeah.
Can
When
I
we're
can check
done,
mine?
go to screen time and see what your average was.
2 days, Patrick. Out of 7 days, literally 2/7.
Malcolm was
I
on
don't
his
know how
phone.
much
Listen,
that's true
I'm
because I
not
do leave
a
my phone
saint
on a
with it.
decent amount of time, like watching YouTube, like when I'm doing shit. Like
I will say I'm 100% sure mine is skewed because at night I go to sleep with YouTube playing and like the screen is on.
Oh, your
For
phone?
my phone, yeah. For like it's on for at least a couple hours. So
Well, aren't there ways you can check screen time for specific apps?
yeah,
Because I feel like it would be like, don't check your screen time on your phone. Generally, it would be like check Instagram, TikTok.
You can
know?
go to screen time and it'll show you on that like part. It'll be like Instagram this
app?
long,
right.
YouTube.
Yeah,
this long.
that would be the more like telling
Formative.
number. Because yeah, like
All right, let's do it right now. Are we done?
I guess so.
Good night.
There you go.
Night.
Thank you for watching. I hope you
See ya.
enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, do the thing, and that's it. Goodbye.